Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.
You know the thing is, Eric, it's a show, and I can't be seen with alcohol in front of me. So
you know what?
I've got to be good here. So this bottle, this is wow. This bottle, I think we talked about the last show. It's a very special bottle.
Yeah.
This bottle was distilled in 1992, and it was bottled in 2009. And so, by my math, that means
Wait,
it's an old bottle.
Because I was going to measure it by what you said last show. But the math was the same.
Yeah, the math was the same.
Now the volume's not the same.
So it was 17 years old in 2009. All right.
Okay.
So let's add 10 years. So it's 27. 2009, so it's a 31-year-old bottle of.
You invited him.
And that's my math of the day.
That's why everybody's mad at me, because I'm on my own Fred time, man. If they did have tour manager time, and that's if they say, Fred, you got to be there at 8, which really means for me you have to be there at 9, because they know I'm not going to get. That's what it's like you telling me I have to be here at 1:30. And
you should have said 1.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But usually, but you know what though, you're like half and half. Like you're either really late or you're like really early.
Well, it depends on how long the line is at McDonald's. That's or what booze you have for me. So
there have been times I haven't had any booze.
Yeah, those are the days I'm really late.
Strikingly short shows.
Running late.
Strikingly short shows and really late.
Can we laugh anymore? And the reason I say that is, besides in this room, because there's a lot of laughter goes on here, but in a broader context, are we allowed to laugh anymore? Do we even think about laughing anymore?
You might hurt somebody's feelings if you're laughing and they don't know what you're laughing about, and they don't laugh with you. Some feelings could be stomped on and hurt, and that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a particular context in this with children, because I'm living it 24/7 of, the sensitivity of certain subjects.
Okay.
And it's...
Please elaborate.
Well, I will, but the teachers are awesome. They really are. The teachers are like the goalie of every topic is allowed in the classroom, in terms of, my daughter at one point didn't wanted to be called not Whitney. And the teacher's like, we got it. It's fine. Mm-hmm. We'll just whatever. Mm-hmm. But there are some, as a parent, there are some things that are not cool in terms of pushing the envelope of, well, obviously my daughter's this, so then you have to do this as a school district.
What do you mean?
Say you predict your daughter or son is transgendered or gay.
Right.
So what are you going to do for me?
Oh.
And I'm of the opposite belief. I'm like, I got it at home. You run your classroom, because these 4 walls will never carry with them.
Point taken. I get it, but let's go.
All right.
He makes it difficult.
All right, here.
You make it so difficult.
Here.
There
I
you
got the full one.
The full one.
With a thumb out.
Well, I didn't mean that. There you go. There it is. Stiff
so we
one.
can,
You'll like it.
The transgender thing, we can go there. But on the laughter front,
Let's not.
We don't have to. I'm just saying the laughter thing on the broad context is that some things are inappropriate, some things are not inappropriate, but where is that line drawn? And things have definitely changed, because my kids were okay with laughing about things growing up that I would have never laughed about in front of my parents. That was just a natural way of society. And I don't say this with any religious bent, but kind of like the moral decay, like the slow moral decay of like acceptability and things like that.
Don't get me started on moral decay.
Well, no, I'm just, I mean, you heathen.
I think there's a breakdown between how your family room was growing up versus what you met now are meeting in the real world. Like
what do you mean?
Like there was a natural thing of like my dad and my mom, they raised a great family. So I just walked in and I've said this before, I walked in this house knowing what to expect and knowing what, you know, the dad and the mom and everything else. And it's like, I feel like now people as parents are trying to be everything at once too early. They don't let the natural progression of things happen.
Okay. Why?
Because they're nervous that their kid isn't going to be as well off as they are.
Oh, so there's an ego component to that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
When you relax and let a Saturday with good weather and Sunday with good weather happen, and your kids are out riding their bikes and doing all these things, you know, but they're not scheduled and they're not in a rhythm of what the parent would like. Now, I know a lot of parents that are easy breezy, and I know a lot of parents that are overscheduled. It's the benefit of being one of many kids.
Yeah.
That I just let it fly.
Also, the generation difference too, right? I mean, less technology then, playing outside,
Right.
Free range parenting, things like that.
Things that were funny then aren't funny now.
Yeah.
You can't get away with anything like you could back in the day.
Well, the reason I wanted to talk about this today was, of course, many of the mindless hours I spend listening to Joe Rogan, and many of his guests are comedians. Man,
We know what he does on his bright sunny days. He's in there listening to Joe Rogan.
the point is, it's funny how younger comedians are in this new. All they know is what they know, what they've experienced. But the more seasoned comedians will definitely come with an axe to grind. You know, I can't do this, I can't do that. What's acceptable, what's not? Some people are trying to cancel me for something I did 30 years ago. There's this big shift, I think, about what's acceptable, and if you say something or insinuate something, even the slightest bit that may offend kind of somehow somebody, you should fucking pay.
I want to say have you ever seen riding cars with comedians? Comedians in cars getting coffee? He's genius because he's a seasoned vet.
Yep.
And now getting these young guns in his car.
Right.
Going on and on. And then, like, almost baiting them.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely baiting going on. There's no question.
I love that show. If you haven't checked it out, you should.
I have not.
Yeah.
It is. It's a really good, and also it's not all about. It's almost nothing about Hollywood or the industry. It's about comics, right. And I argue that is also the base for a lot of other talent.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And he's like, you never change. You just get old.
Huh.
You know, Jerry Seinfeld could
that's
go
pretty,
out.
That's pretty prophetic.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld, as genius as he was when he made the Seinfeld show, as he is now. Because when I watch this show, he's like, "Well, I'm just going to adapt my life to. All right, here's a young gun trying to be me. What car do you like? I'm going to drive you around for an afternoon, ask you questions, and at the end of the day, you're going to admire me."
I get the premise.
Yeah.
But
it is a really good show.
But think about this, though. Okay. Seinfeld came at a funny time in society where a lot of this PC stuff kind of started in the 90s early, and you started to see in Larry David's writing, you started to see him rub it a little bit in terms of, pushing societal buttons. The gay thing was.
Ellen. Ellen was during that time.
Right, but the one episode that Seinfeld had where they addressed being gay, and there'd be an insinuation if someone was gay, and then they would say, "But there's nothing wrong with that." Not that I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That was the beginning of, I think, the PC culture, and they're being PC yet still making fun of it.
Yeah.
Larry David was brilliant. I mean, I don't know how much of that was
So he
Seinfeld
was
and Larry David.
dancing the line.
He was that, but Seinfeld kind of ushered in. My point is, though, I think Seinfeld could not have been like a 15, 20 year, 25 year thing. It's hard to stay fresh that long, I get it, but society has changed so much since that show was a hit that the things they went for, I think, in those rooms, those planning rooms, those rehearsal rooms, they could never fucking do today. Never. Which is, that to me is sad.
Well, I feel like these lines of conversation are now drawn out in dramas rather than sitcoms. Sitcoms have to be 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it was introduced in Seinfeld, like it's like, there's no problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
It would then, and a sister show in the same network, then say, hey, can you address this?
Right.
And then go into a, like, ER or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah.
But then it's all the same owners.
It is. And the media is probably, I don't think the media companies, in my opinion, drive all this PC stuff,
the
but
money does.
they're reacting to what they think the public is getting upset about, and then they react to it, and then they put confined behavior into their own system. I think that's kind of
what actors, as much as they want to have their own voice, they're scripted.
There's no question. Yeah, there's no question.
Right.
I agree. And well, think about how much of comedy now before these guys go out has to be. Think about, like, if I'm not even saying Chappelle or Rogan, you're because I think they literally can go on stage and say whatever the fuck they want and they don't care. But if you take those top 10 out, and then you have the let's say number 10 through 50 trying to get to the top, they're walking a real fine line.
Mm-hmm.
They can't go on a stand-up routine or go on a talk show as a guest. They can't do that without really parsing everything they say. And to me, that's a kind of an attack on the general nature of comedy. Because when I grew up, it was some things were so distasteful that you really didn't want to hear them, but people had the right to say them. And some people found that stuff really funny. So that element of comedy was out there.
Well,
it's
in
gone
comedians,
now.
I feel
It's
so
gone
bad
now.
for them right now.
I do too.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Mm-hmm.
And St. Patrick's Day, he said, I'm going to do something. I hope I still have fans. I hope I still whatever. He's like, Happy St. Patrick's Day. And he's, Italian. He says, did I do something wrong? Did the leprechaun somehow violate you? Like, he went into this whole thing, and it's like...
Leprechaun sex. Here's something we haven't talked about on the show.
Oh, wait, do you have a story?
No. No.
Not that you're willing to share, or it hasn't happened, but you're hoping.
No.
Okay.
There's no stories about leprechauns. No.
He's lying. He's lying.
I think he is lying, because I know a Southside bar that has that sort of thing. Anyway.
Yeah, the point is well taken. He doesn't. The broader context, which he's humoring, is he doesn't know what the hell he can say anymore. Or so, because here's
and that'll take away. And this is the rub: is like the same people complaining are the same people that want a night out with their husband and wife and go to this comedy show.
Yeah, I so there's a lot of hypocrisy that goes on with the average human, and with some folks there's a lot of it because they feel so entitled to never have their feelings hurt only when it's convenient for them and it's in the right social circle and it's acceptable. And I think that we want all of our needs met at our own, I don't know,
I think we want
discretion.
all our needs met in proper order.
In our proper order.
Because
order.
here's how. You can't be rich and famous and expect privacy. Well, of course you could. Of course you can. Mm-hmm. Just because you didn't do it doesn't mean
it can't be done.
It can't be done.
Mm-hmm.
So don't now, like, in your station of life, say, well, how dare you expect that?
Right.
Well, they have children.
Right.
They have a wife. They have...
Managed celebrity. That's what Paul Stanley said years ago. He goes, I have a managed celebrity. I manage.
Yeah.
People do it.
It is America's culture that we're even just paparazziing, like, the F list.
Right.
It's not even...
Right.
You know, it's just money. It's a money maker.
It is, but
it's not fair.
It's not fair. I think there should be, but again, it comes down to that one thing you can't legislate and you can't govern against or constrain. That's human decency. People just need to be decent. There was a really bad but popular movie in '89 it had I think it had Tom Hanks in it. Bonfire of the Vanities. Do you remember this movie?
No. Was Tom Hanks like 12? Like,
I don't. It was after Big. Maybe it wasn't Tom Hanks.
So he was 14.
Tom Hanks. I think it was Tom Hanks in this movie. I could be wrong. It was Bonfire of the Vanities. Apparently, it was a big romance novel that, like, I don't know, by Sydney.
Do you want me to Google it?
Yeah,
like,
Sydney.
I'm doing it now.
Did Sydney Sheldon write it? It was a very popular romance drama novel, I think, or a book that was popular. Then they made a movie that was pretty bad. The reason I bring it up is this is '89, popular movie. The most, I don't know, up until that moment, the greatest line, the greatest performance I ever seen in a movie ever was Morgan Freeman as the judge toward the end of this movie. In this courtroom, there was certain groups fighting over an injustice and certain groups, and it was tawdy. It was about sex. It was about, extortion and all this stuff. And it was kind of lighthearted, too. There was a comedic bent to it all. And he lectured in like 90 seconds this audience, and he basically was saying, you people need to go out there and be decent people. Did you forget to be, this is '89, decent people. In that decency, if done by humans, being decent people, civil maybe, but decent, that's what's missing. And his opinion was it was missing then, and society was becoming less decent. I'll look at it now, 30 years later. We're just, before we act, we're not thinking, well, is this really a decent thing to do? Is it really a decent thing to do? We don't ask ourselves that question anymore.
Here's why.
We just don't.
And I brought this up in the last time I was here, there's no measure of you against anybody. It is a measure of how you're doing and what you want to do. We were raised of how you treat other people. Mm-hmm. Like, hello, Mrs. So-and-so,
right.
And manners. It is now just a soul, your own person. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Or we devalue it. We're obviously devaluing.
You're devaluing relationships.
Well, we're devaluing ourselves. We artificially, I think.
Well, you're giving yourself too much credit by not acknowledging another person.
Yeah, our own self-importance, I think, is artificially blown up in our minds. But in reality, the fact that we're not decent to other people, or decent in our behavior, or civil in our behavior, is more of a reflection of how less we value ourselves. Really,
right? And that's how people are going to look at you.
We're teaching kids that, and I think that's
no, not mine.
Yeah, well, no, and I think there's still a hell of a lot of great parenting going on in this world. I don't like throwing things in buckets and labeling. I do think the extremes, though, in society, this PC shit, and you can still call it PC, right? It's cancel culture today. It was PC, whatever, political correctness years prior, whatever. It's kind of the loudest voices on both sides, and in this instance, it's the really the more left and liberal. Ultra left and liberal really screaming about every single thing that bothers them, and then the far right is screaming like they don't care about anybody, and F you, right? So you have those two voices, and everybody kind of in the middle just kind of looking at both sides and just don't want to get involved. Well, when we don't get involved, we don't say anything, these two little voices get louder and louder and louder, and that's the problem we have now is we have a bunch of psychos running around.
Yeah.
And it's the small minority of the population, I think. But man, it's like, you're going to eliminate a small portion of society that might be different in their viewpoints of life and how they live and who they view they are. They're going to eliminate comedy off the planet. it's going to be eliminated for the rest of us because the rest of us are too weak to stand up to these people. Like, what the fuck is wrong with the people in the middle? We got to, at some point in time, we got to stand up and say, hey.
Well, it's become too easy to sue somebody for saying something, or too easy to go on the internet and attack somebody and ruin careers and shit like that. It's become, people don't want to have to deal with the hassle of, so this person's over there screaming and yelling and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, they're tearing down your monuments. They're taking the 10 Commandments off a courthouse. They're tearing down your statues of what got you here.
We let it happen.
Exactly,
though, Fred.
Well, that's what my point is people
We're
just sit
afraid
around
to engage them?
That's right. People are afraid because now they're going to get sued, or now they're going to look bad in a light. Whereas these people on over here are banding together, and the small minorities going against it. People now are just like, you know what? It's not worth my hassle. And that's the shame. That's what the problem is. It's just like, you know what? I don't have time for this. And it's a bunch of horse shit. Because now somebody can get on the internet and say, I saw Eric McKenna, blah, 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 blah. And where's your show? Nobody wants to come on your show anymore.
Yeah, I get it.
Nobody wants to do it. And it could be right, it could be wrong, but now you're branded as, you know, this guy said in trying to be funny.
Yeah.
This guy said something, and you know what? It offended me. Oh my goodness, it hurt my feelings. Did it really hurt your feelings? No. It didn't hurt your feelings.
It's fear. It's fear.
Do people even know what being offended really means? Like,
no, because they're really not offended. They're just like fearful of what that's going to mean if that happened every day. They're taking what you said, or whomever said, and injecting it into their everyday life, which it isn't.
Right. It
was an entertaining moment. Be gone. Goodbye.
Well, the thing is people are afraid of them being laughed at instead of laughed with. You know, that's the one thing I do. Everybody,
I actually don't care about either.
Well, that's exactly it, and that's what that was my point. You can say whatever the fuck you want about me. I don't care. You know, I don't care what you say because I know who I am and I'm comfortable with who I am.
And there's a portion of society that's like that, Fred. I get that.
But nowadays, if you hurt little Jimmy's feeling because you didn't get that participation trophy, you know what? Mommy and Daddy are going to sue you. And, you know, little Jimmy grows up to be a little sissy. I said it. And, you know, but that's exactly it. People find it so easy right now because if they feel not included, or if they find themselves laughed at, now you're bullying somebody. Oh my goodness, you laughed at me. How dare you laugh at me? Well, it was kind of funny, but you know what? It was funny for you, but it wasn't funny for me. So now you're a victim. You're a criminal, and they're a victim. And it's not like that at all. People have lost focus on what it's like to be human. One of the funny things is I watch these stupid animal videos. I'm gonna go off track a little bit. I watch these stupid animal videos
like that's never happened before
on Instagram. You know, and I'll sit there for hours and watch these things. But what I found funny is I watched animals reacting to like magic tricks or something funny, and the animals get it. The chimps get it. Right. The orangutans get it. They're watching the magic, and the guy obviously he like shows you how he does. He's got a ball in a cup, and he's showing the monkey there's a ball in the cup, and he dumps it away, and the ball he shows that the ball's gone, and the monkey laughs. You know what I mean? The monkey saw it, and he thinks it's amazing. Right. People don't laugh anymore. They don't find silliness or something funny.
They laugh, but they don't take it for just what it was.
Yeah,
they have to attach it to some bigger meaning.
Exactly.
Now you're abusing a chimp.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly. Now you're teasing the monkey.
Right.
But you know what? There are probably people out there that would do that.
Right.
But the point is, people don't see the little things that are funny in life. Or people can't find it because when did we become?
Here's what the problem is. You can laugh in your family room with your family. You can have a Sunday dinner with your family and laugh and joke and all those things. But now the rub is if I had a beautiful Sunday dinner with my family, unless I put it on Facebook,
yeah,
right? Then it's like, well, what'd you have? Well, what'd you do? What? people can't relish in a moment anymore that's not publicized.
Yeah, you're right.
So I feel like a lot of people are still having these family, like these moments, but it's not, you know, I'm a good mom because I had a Sunday dinner. You know, it's, but it still exists.
It's the old Chris Rock thing. You're supposed to, you know, take care of your kids.
Right.
You're supposed to, you know.
You don't get a medal because you had a meal for them.
A special award.
Right.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Now, listen, I'm all over. Like, I'm like, hey, happy Easter, whatever, and everything. There's a ton of behind the scenes stuff that I don't show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, every mom does that. But I'm telling you, it's a thing.
This is going to be very controversial, but this is what we do. So you don't have to be controversial. I will be. Are we kowtowing? Are we unnecessarily yielding, I guess is a better way to put it, to a very small minority of total people? And I don't mean minority in terms of race or whatever. In terms of the whole aggregate, right? The whole enchilada of Americans. It's a small amount of them that have the loudest voices and screaming about everything, just so they're not included. They're not, you know,
the Kyles and Karens of the world.
But I mean, on steroids. Are we then modifying the rest of the 99% plus, modifying our life to kowtow to the very small minority?
No, I disagree. I'll never be that mom or person that goes out there. I know a couple really great badass girls that, you know, run for people or campaign for people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to. I don't have. It's not my thing.
Right on.
I just don't have it. You always need those folks.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not talking about people who have causes and all that. I'm talking about people that are spilling vitriol about always being offended.
Okay, well then they should either run for office or run for office or raise your family the way you want to be raised.
We're doing. We're all parsing our words all damn day. Like
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Well, I find myself parsing my word. What's acceptable?
Well, you
funny.
choose to have a podcast.
Well, I don't do it here.
Yeah,
but I do it out with my realtor practice or whatever.
Have
because
a job, yes.
Well, in my realtor practice, I do, and I think that part of that is maybe a better person, because there was many jokes during the guitar years where I wasn't out in business environments and so forth, and I was pretty callous. And I look back at some of the videos we have of laughing that I can't show now because the stuff is callous. I wouldn't do that again.
Right,
somebody's looking that up.
I wouldn't do. Well, it's not online.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
As a girl, I call myself a girl. Woman. Girl. And as an old school family, whatever. There's a lot of stuff that has come to light that now children and women can talk about. Mm-hmm. In the same vein, has advanced your inability to talk about, as a white male, about a lot of things.
Okay.
But it's advanced a lot of other things that are more beneficial.
Agreed.
Than your inability to say something.
100%. 100%.
So, is it fair? No. But what has been advanced for victims of things to talk about?
Well, okay. Yes, 100%. And that's not where I'm headed with this.
Well, I was.
Oh, yeah, apparently so.
Oh, wait, here. There you go.
The full Monty.
Wait, let me do the annoying one first. There you go.
There are certain things that we should have corrected in society 50 years ago.
Exactly.
Took all this
but you
long.
couldn't because it wasn't in place.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is we're better off for a lot of reasons. There's no question. But
you wanted to maintain your...
No. I'm not saying that I don't I can't go out and I want to say lewd things, and that's not where I'm headed with this. What I'm headed with this is I don't know anymore often in mixed company if I'm being looked at, not baited, but I'm being looked at to be examined and parsed, and every one of my words parsed. I have that paranoia right now, and I don't want it.
Well, I think that's on you.
I don't think so. I honestly believe.
Well,
I think
then
there's
you
many.
do have a public podcast that people can watch.
Don't worry about that. I'm talking about. I know here. I think
Well,
it's
I
talking
mean,
about
that,
every
well,
day.
then where is it coming
we can
from?
See it comes out. It comes in business meetings that I have. It comes in.
I feel like you're a little hypersensitive about that.
What do you mean?
I feel like you're hypersensitive about how people perceive you. Just do the transaction and get to sell the house. Like
I don't. No. It's not about that. It is about having my words misconstrued to mean something that they're not.
when does it
Because
happen?
people-
Give me an example.
Oh, plenty of times. I got accosted because I misgendered someone. That's happened to me multiple times because I don't, not intentionally. I don't care
You
enough
can't
to be.
say ma'am anymore
Well,
or miss,
holding
Mrs. or-
holding doors for
Oh, yeah.
people.
Oh.
The chivalry.
Well, no.
Some-
Misgendering someone is way different than holding a door for a woman.
Well, yes,
But
acts of chivalry, public chivalry that was when I was a kid was perfectly acceptable, and I thought it was okay, and I still think it's okay. I do, but at times, it's tricky landscape for a guy. It is. It's different than being a woman. Not harder or worse. It's just different, and it's right now. Looking at, and I'm in my mid-50s, so I get it. The world is being run today by the younger generation, so I want to maneuver correctly in there. It's just, I just don't understand. Like, when you tell me that there's 50 or 150 different genders, and there is a portion of society that is fighting for this, that's mind-numbing to me. I cannot maneuver a he,
well, then get a
he,
bigger
him,
brain.
they. Pardon me?
Get a bigger brain.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
You should learn.
I should learn 150
If
genders?
you're going to sell houses to the younger generation, do it.
I am very adaptable, yes, but it is not a very.
It's not easy.
No, it isn't about being easy. It's not an easy thing. It's not. I don't mind it being difficult. I mind it being stupid.
Yeah.
It's not stupid though. What if
It is stupid. 150 genders is stupid to me.
150? I don't know where you
I
came with that.
don't consider myself a unicorn. I don't think that's a gender.
I actually think you could be.
But yeah, you know what? There's two fucking genders.
Oh, you can be who you want to be.
You can
Just
be
don't
who you wanna
expect
be.
me to understand it.
No, there's two sexes.
There's two sexes.
Is
you
there?
can be what you want to be.
Is there?
I'm not going down here.
Oh, because you were just telling me that I need to
Yeah,
adapt.
You
and
do
Well,
need to adapt.
that's where I'm
I
going
need
with
to
this.
learn, but I mean,
So teach me.
Okay, I'll teach you.
Teach us.
teach me.
Who?
We are now class is in session.
Class. I was just going to say. Well, I'm going to raise my
Class is in
hand.
session.
Teacher, teach me.
Why do you care who's buying the house and if they would prefer?
Oh, I don't
That's not
care
what he's
about
saying.
that. Oh, I don't care about that.
Who, if they would prefer to be called something,
Oh,
and on the deed,
Oh no! I will. No. I'm not.
All right,
that's,
so
that's, a,
I'm-
that's a good. It's a good point. That's never come up. What I'm saying to you is, I walk
what
around.
would it take away from your life to acknowledge people who is a guy who wants to be called a girl?
Not at all. If I know that, and they're coming at me with a kindful request, 100%. I'm the kindest.
I'm sorry.
But if you
Okay,
accidentally,
I'm the kindest guy on the street. But don't lash out at me for not knowing
Like
on
off the
first
bat.
contact that you are no longer what I thought you were, or you never were. Whatever you label yourself, that's your label. You decided to be different like that in terms of labeling yourself.
Okay, but now that you're
How you describe yourself.
right, but now you're in this business, and now you've had experience one or two times. Mm-hmm. Maybe
Of what?
of being shocked of receiving somebody who you didn't think was
Yes.
who you thought they would be.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
now going forward, now this has happened to you a couple of times. I'm
I'm
assuming.
not going to quit.
Well, you're not going to solve it either. So I suggest
I haven't
to
learned
you,
a thing yet.
I suggest to you that you stand down.
So my favorite thing is if you go back in comedy and you want to talk about misgendering, one of the funniest things that I can.
The movie Pat.
Pat was good, but even before that, the Monty Python
Right.
Holy
I love
Grail,
Monty
when he
Python.
goes, "Old woman or old man, I'm a woman," whatever, It's funny as fuck. But you know what? Somebody would find that offensive
No,
right
not
now.
anymore. That wasn't in context. You guys are misconstruing. It's not in
Maybe
context
I don't understand
anymore.
what you're saying. Good.
What I'm saying is that was a moment, and that who doesn't love that movie? But
Well, a 20-year-old might not.
Yep, they would find that offensive now.
Really?
well, who
They would-
cares?
they
They,
would- they
don't
would-
have to watch it.
Oh!
No, you're missing the
Great.
point.
That's how I feel.
That's
Great
exactly
point.
it.
No, you're missing the point.
Okay, good.
Because then if I come to apply with you for a job,
Don't fly over here. I don't hire anybody.
well, say you had the wherewithal to actually hire people.
With the stupidity one.
Am I getting paid, by the way?
She's using big lawyer
I'm
words
just
on
saying.
it.
No,
Wherewithal.
I'm just saying. Just because you referenced a movie from the 80s,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you guys
70s.
are right.
What do you mean?
It doesn't mean it translates. It is now a different
Yeah,
age.
kids
What,
don't get it.
Being decent.
No, kids get it, but now, fortunately,
They find it offensive. They're gonna cancel culture.
I
Monty
love that I'm
Python.
talking to you with like golden locks, and you're still. But
That's Pearl, right?
It's
no,
Pantene.
I am here. I can't let this lie.
Don't. You got the floor.
Well, I'm just saying it's
Until I
not.
interrupt her again.
It's not fair. Like it's just like Pretty Woman. I would never be a prostitute and have a man buy me all these clothes. You
There's a
can't
lot of
reference
girls
them-
out there that do.
You can't. It's not me, but
No,
you
but
can't
but there's
reference
out
the
there that do it.
movie and then say why should they get offended because that movie was made. It's bullshit.
Oh, I didn't. Well,
So
no,
why?
wait.
So why
Yes,
should people
you
get offended?
did.
So why should people
Wait,
get offended that
wait,
a statue
no,
was
no,
put
no,
up?
No, back up now. Wait, hold
No,
on.
no, you're
saying
switching.
they have a right to be offended.
No, I say they have a right now. Just because y'all were offended
Wait,
doesn't mean.
us? We were
Yeah.
offended on what? Offended by what?
Well, you were just laughing about whatever. So
Old woman.
I'm not offended by anything ever.
I mean,
I'm undefendable.
you're undefended.
I'm
No,
yeah,
I get that.
I don't get
Unoffendable.
offended.
nobody can offend me about anything. You say you can.
I'm saying
you can
when
bother
you-
me. You can
when
you can say something horrible, disturb me, but I'm not offendable.
You could offend.
Obviously so.
I am offensive. Yes. and I intentionally try to be offensive.
and hideous. You were
I'm
told.
hideous. I'm hideous and offensive. And I smell bad.
Actually, I don't.
I do anything. You've got to do something with this.
Oh, filters.
Filters. I'm a hideous man.
Oh, what are you gonna do with that hand right now?
Yeah, it's the fist going up fucking society's ass.
Nope. I don't.
I don't get it. I just don't like you. I don't know where you're going with this. I mean, we're pretty congruent on the fact we lead with kindness, right? Don't intentionally set out to hurt anybody. And if somebody needs something, whether it's they need to be identified or to what they want,
Okay, I want to
do all that good stuff.
At the end of the day, if someone came to you at a listing and said, "I'm like, please don't call me Michelle. I'm Mike."
Well, sure,
Hi, Mike.
Okay, but then
that's no problem.
okay.
I don't want to be attacked for not knowing.
See, this is my rub.
Go ahead.
You're being the martyr more than the acceptor.
I'm not a martyr or anything.
Well, you already
I don't want to be annoyed.
emphasized that you would be annoyed and inconvenienced because Mike didn't tell.
If you attacked me because
It's
I
not
didn't
attack.
know what
Why
your
would
sex
you feel
was,
that was an attack?
no, politely.
That's your own ego at work.
Politely telling
Oh, wow.
me,
Here we go.
politely telling me.
No,
that
how? Okay, tell
it's
me.
fine.
Tell me what's the litmus test of politely telling Eric McKenna that Michelle's Mike versus and
I think
what
there's
you
I think
wouldn't
there's-
accept.
I think it's pretty understandable that if you're being you would know when someone's accosting you or someone is asking you to do
I
something.
feel like you're being really.
You don't think I've been accosted then?
Or have you been hurt?
Because I've been accosted.
Do you have bruises?
But I don't think so. Calling Mike and Michelle, mixing it up, causes a bruise to Mike or Michelle either.
That's what I'm saying. I think you're receiving your.
I don't like the rage. When
listen.
rage is
Just
brought
hear
to me
me.
for no
Can you
reason.
hear me? Hear
then
me
fuck
for-
you.
hear
I don't
me-
care.
Hear me for a second. Hear me for 1 second.
Good.
I think when you like to be on your game and all that, and when you're not, and someone introduces something that gets you off step.
Okay.
I firmly believe that you've never been accosted or attacked. I feel like were caught off guard.
No. I know what off guard is, and you're right. That can happen.
Okay, so what's accosted and attacked?
I'll be. See, here's the thing. If I explain it to you, I'll be mocking this person. See, I mean, I'm just telling you.
Well, then don't air it.
Oh, I'm going to air it. I'm going to air whatever I say. I just think that you're asking me to parse between what is being accosted and what is being politely asked to be told that how someone wants to be.
So they were like
labeled.
baiting and switching you. They were like,
there was no question about it that the intent of this person was just sitting there waiting for me to fuck up. And when I fucked up out of not knowing, they
okay,
attacked.
but that's not everybody.
3 instances, 3 different people, and both of them. And I had people with me on my business side on all 3 times, and we came out of that room and they looked at me like, what the fuck happened there? So it wasn't me being offended. It was me being like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess my saying is,
So just don't do it again.
my thing is, why are a portion of our society walking around looking to be outraged verbally and put it on people?
Because they've never had a voice. You've always had a voice.
Okay, so if that's the case, they're using their voice. It is not going to. The way they're using their voice is not going to help them get their message across.
Of course it is, because we're talking about it right now.
We're talking about how
pissed off and ridiculous.
how
but it
ridiculous
doesn't
it
matter.
is.
See, I disagree.
Yeah,
I don't.
I get it. I get it. I think there's a way to do things.
They pissed you off.
No, it's not even about being pissed off. It's about them
That's
getting
always-
pissed off, and it's like, what's the big fucking deal? If you make a mistake, you make a mistake.
it's not a mistake.
They're pissed off. They're throwing it on me, and I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I don't
get
care.
it.
I don't care if you're red, blue, green, purple. I don't care if you suck a dick or if you don't suck a dick.
Oh, God.
Fucking, I don't fucking give 2 fucks less. It's not my business. But you don't got to push your preferences, your identification on me. Because I made a mistake and called you Miss, Mr., whatever, Bob, Sally, whatever. You don't got to get pissed off at me about it.
I guess essentially,
I'm
without
comfortable
being so
with myself.
graphic, that's what I was trying to say.
I get mad at this shit. And in all honesty,
But
I treat people like people. It makes no difference what you do, what your preference is, what your color is. You're a person. I treat you good. If I offended you, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to, because I never go out with the intention of belittling somebody or putting somebody down.
Most people don't, right?
But there's people out there that have to bring their agenda, their personal agenda.
See,
now, whether they've been attacked or not, they bring it to the forefront, and they have to push their. I don't push my personal agenda. Yeah, it
you
is.
Don't need to
you
push
just said. You just said they don't have a voice, and they have to make it known.
Yeah, because you've always had a voice. You've been a white male your entire life.
And so, but you know what? I don't push my white maleness on anybody. You know what? I've been in some pretty shady places where a white male shouldn't be, and you know what? I was accepted.
But that was your choice.
But but I was accepted because I didn't fucking push my voice on it, and I didn't fight with anybody, and I didn't bring up hey, look, I'm a white man. Look, I've got white. It doesn't happen like that.
Okay, I understand. I understand what you're saying. There are people in this country of all kinds of demographics and colors and races, and I get it. That the only way that we're seeing equality and we're seing justice is by them being vocal and loud and getting in the faces of society.
And it doesn't take away anything from your life.
But see, I when you know, because quite frankly, I agree with the injustice, and I'm on the side of anyone who doesn't have equal rights.
Exactly.
This is something that. And properly explained, I'm on their side there too. I won't want anyone to be mislabeled. But for the love of God, do not attack and ruin civility because you're hurt When you're hurt, I'm sorry that you're struggling internally with something.
How do you identify the difference between them making
how they treat me?
That's right.
It
That's
depends
exactly
on how
it.
someone treats me is how I identify
but-
my interaction with them.
That was the point that I was trying to make. You should
You don't
always
think that I've been in a law firm sexually harassed?
Of course.
Of course. You're a
Do
woman.
So now you're saying that when someone doesn't buy from you because you mislabeled them or something.
Okay. I don't sell anything, but go ahead.
Don't you sell real estate?
I don't sell anything. Yeah. Agents aren't.
I mean,
we're not salespeople. We're advocates, and we work with our clients.
Are you really moving the net?
Sorry.
You don't
I'm not
sell a
salesman.
house? Mm-mm. You're not a realtor.
Realtors don't sell houses. There's no salesmanship in what I do.
They're contractors.
There's no.
They're
we don't
the
sell.
in-between guy.
I don't want to be a salesman. I've been a salesman. Yeah, but we're
Maybe,
parsing words.
Maybe we just tipped on why you don't.
Maybe someone won't work with me because of X reason. So yeah, I get it. It's good.
I'm done.
So here's it. When you said
Oh, you said sell. You don't sell anything. I said no. That's just a little. I don't sell. I don't view myself as a salesperson. I've had careers where I was a salesperson. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they don't work with me because of what reason were you going to say?
I'm out.
Well, here's the thing. You were talking about being a lawyer and you being sexually harassed and stuff like that. Men get sexually harassed. I've been sexually harassed, and it's not bullshit.
Oh, you do? Wait, I've never heard this one before.
Fuck yeah, man.
But the difference between a male being sexually harassed
What, the man can take
and
it?
a female being sexually harassed is we didn't have your rights until like 1960.
Who cares? We're not living in
I
1960. Were you alive in 1960? I really highly
My
doubt.
mother was.
Well, you were. Okay, so your
My
mom was.
sisters-
My mom was too.
My sisters were.
You know what? And they lived, didn't they? They survived it. And we're talking.
You know, to be honest with you,
We're in 2021 right now, and
you just don't want to acknowledge.
no, I acknowledge. If anybody can look back through I'm a big history
he's a
buff.
history major.
I sit around and
But you come
applaud.
out on top every time.
No, I applaud the people that fought for the civil rights. You know what? I go to look and see what people where civil rights things have happened.
He's a Democrat, for God's sake.
All right, listen to me.
So the thing is,
Here's the difference.
You're living in 2021,
No.
not 1964. You know, there's no police dogs chasing somebody down the street with fire hoses.
Because here's where I'm sitting around my dining room table telling my children about my grandfather and my dad and my grandmother and my mom and what they had to deal with to go through everything. It's not like you pop out a kid and like, oh, it's bright and shiny.
Are you African American?
Don't.
I'm serious because those are the people that are they struggled. You know what I mean? Those cats had to struggle.
Of course.
As a white female or a white family, you know, and I'll take that side. You know, you can look back and you can see the inequalities of people and how people were treated, men, women, based on color or whatever.
Well, there's still inequality.
There's still inequality.
Maybe not in the law, but how we act as a society.
But the thing is why can't people just treat people right and let it go? The whole thing that started us on this little rabbit hole is, you know, being mislabeled and people taking offense. Right now, you've got people screaming about this and screaming about that. Me, I'm the nicest guy in the world. I don't have a hateful bone toward any race, religion. I've gone and seen just about every major religion and play. I've been to Muslim mosques. I've been to synagogues. You know, I've gone all around and seen and blended in with every culture and embraced every culture. Not everybody's out there hating on people for just their color, their religion, their sexual preference. Mm-hmm. But it's a small minority out there that's screaming about it. And like what Eric was saying, just because you sit around and you mislabel somebody, you have to worry about the repercussions because you were in a room and you called somebody Mr. and they want to be identified as a Miss. It was a little mistake. You know, we're not talking about, like I said, spraying somebody with a fire hose and sicking a dog on them in a room. You're talking about, I mislabeled you. It was a mistake. But you have to worry about what your repercussions are. Is somebody going to criticize your show now? Is somebody going to cancel? This whole thing of canceling people and comedians this is actually how we started.
Yeah.
It's gotten out of hand. It's actually gotten out of hand. Eric likes everybody. I've never heard the guy say a bad word about anybody. I've never heard you say a bad word about anybody. But what it's coming down to is these little tiny mix-ups, accidents, misworded things have gotten into ruining people's lives and careers,
No doubt,
and burning cities down. And yeah, I get it.
Well, Katie, I think that's what I was trying to say. That's where it is paranoid, and I'll admit there's times I get paranoid because of what's happened prior. When there's nothing worse. When you were little and you did something wrong, and then you were accused of doing that fucking sucks, especially when you're trying to lie it off, right? But there's nothing in this world worse than being accused of something you didn't do.
Exactly.
That's the thing, or don't believe, or don't feel, and so when in these three particular instances, there was others, but these three stand out that when I say, how do I define being accosted, believe me, when other people are looking around going, holy shit, I don't know how to act. It isn't that I'm offended. I just don't know what the appropriate response is about, because you're in mixed company doing business and someone does that and vents that way and accuses, and how dare you. When that kind of verbiage comes out, I don't know how I define that, but that really interrupts the flow of business. I mean, it's hard to do business under those circumstances. So that puts me on my heels a lot, and I'm always generally worried that I'm going to say the wrong thing to somebody.
In that instance, why don't you just own the situation and
I
be
did.
like,
yeah. I laid down and practically let them walk all over me. I apologized 1,000 times. There was no fight, but I walk away from that circumstance going, holy shit, that was, I could have been, if they were looking to humble me, they could have humbled me appropriately. It wouldn't piss off the rest of the people around me that we're trying to do business here. There's a million ways to deliver the same message is what I'm trying to say. And
I agree that wouldn't hurt your feelings.
That feelings
or the moment.
It was embarrassing.
There are better ways he could have done it.
And I have been told many times that I mislabeled someone the right way. I think the right way is the kind way.
But you're saying there's a better way he could have schooled you in that moment instead of making you.
And that's my whole point. That I'm trying to. So here I am. Then I go forward and I start maneuvering myself, and now I'm parsing.
Now welcome to everyone else's game.
Like, what do you mean?
I went to a board meeting in a law firm, and they commented on my breasts when I walked in.
Well, that's
of course there's a better way
ridiculous.
They could have done that. Or at all. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're just now realizing how it feels to be in an uncomfortable situation where you didn't know you were walking into.
Well, what you just described is inappropriate in any circumstance.
Well, of course. And if you're going to sell a house and he's like, I'm Tammy and not Tim, and you were like, oh, I didn't know, I'm sorry. The minute I walked in that room, I thought I was going into a meeting, and all of a sudden I was on display.
I think there's a big difference between the person,
no, it's not.
the person who said to you something about your breasts.
It's the same feeling.
All right, so here you go. This is no bullshit.
It's the same feeling.
It's the same feeling. You felt like it was inappropriate and it wasn't kind, and shame on him for doing that in that moment.
The response.
That's how I felt walking into this meeting, expecting something and getting something else.
You should never have been spoken to that way.
Well, neither should you. But
yes, but there's no there was no kind or appropriate way to kindly tell you about your breasts in front of people. That's just inappropriate, period.
Right.
Yeah. There was a kind way to correct me in my conversation with that person. There was a better way to keep it could have been very civil. It could have been there's no way to do what you described civilly and be appropriate.
But this is the rub. Regardless of the subject matter, is you are finding yourself in situations that you don't know what you're walking into. And my point is that women, and I'll just speak for women, have been doing that for decades.
There's no question. Agreed.
And so when you say, I was like, how dare he? We've been dealing with this forever, and still, and also I mean, we don't need to go there, but minorities and transgender and gays, we always walk in a room unsured. Always.
Okay.
So when you say to me, it caught me off guard, and then I'm ribbing you like, well, oh, okay, Eric, like, how many times have you walked in a room not confident or whatever? Not because of your own shit, but because of something that could be coming at you.
Okay, I get it. Point made.
That is where I'm coming from. It's not about.
I get it.
It's not about he, she,
I get
girl,
it.
boy,
I get
whatever. It's about not having sure footing on something when you're walking in a room. I've dealt with it for years. Women have. Just because I'm like awesome doesn't mean I haven't.
I love it.
haven't.
You've been hanging around him way too long now.
It just means like I understand myself.
Right.
And I own everything. A lot of people don't.
What's a better way to go through life?
Of course, if you have it, but that's
Or learn to do that.
That I guess after all of that, that's what I'm deducing is I've constantly walked into a room unshored foot.
Okay.
So it's always like, oh, what's coming at me? What's happening? And I've always had to, oh, nice to see you, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, as a 20-something, 30-something,
Well, I could never
40-something.
understand that. I'm a male. Totally different. I get it.
I was
get
thinking
that.
that
And
as
I'm
well.
sure you're completely
that.
kind. I'm just saying there's not,
Well, my
there's
parents would
unkind
have beat
people.
my ass if they had not raised me that way.
Right.
So I had no choice
So,
entering adult.
Here's
that
my point is that apply that to anyone walking in your showings and then say, well, I didn't know, but you're taking away the I didn't know. How dare, like I wasn't an ass because I didn't know. Of course you didn't know, and you're not an ass. But stop making that the conversation and start making it about, wow, okay, maybe going forward, I should say who's arriving, who's coming
I've
with
had
us.
to. Yeah, I've adjusted a
Yeah.
lot. I've done that. I guess.
Whether you agree or not, that's your business.
Yes, it's just you're right, and I've had to adapt. Adapt is the word. I've had to watch how I've had to enter conversations or appointments and so forth being very generalized in my greetings. I've solved that problem. I thought I had until it reared its ugly head again.
Well, it's not a problem.
It's a problem for me. I'm not saying
Well,
it's their
it's an
problem. It's not
opportunity
their
for
problem. Yeah, I can see it might be used or looked at as an opportunity by some. It's a problem in the way I maneuver right now. So yeah, it's a problem for me. Not that it's anyone else's problem. It's my problem to deal with. But I will tell you, I have to maneuver differently, and I am guarded. And if you want to use the word paranoid at times, I
wouldn't say paranoid. It'd be like you're. It's a new.
Look,
approach.
it's another approach to be kind to people because I don't want somebody to be called something that they don't associate with, even though I may not understand all that. It isn't my business. Okay. When I come at you genuinely to do business, a greeting, see someone on the street, I come from a place of kindness. That's how
But you're
maneuver.
asking them to assume that, and also
That's the problem right there. I don't understand why so many people are walking around on edge. Yes, I understand the concept. I understand the concept that, well, I don't know what it's like to walk in every room not on sure footing and having all these feelings. I don't get it because I'm not there, but I get the concept that you're comparing not having sure
Then
footing to
just
someone
do
who doesn't.
it.
I do, but the whole point of this conversation was I don't understand why it is so important to lash out at people when they're coming at you with kindness because they don't understand how you're feeling.
Well,
and
they
I
should
think
be
there's
in
some
a-
of that's happening.
they should be in a more teaching mode than a lashing
but they're
out
not.
mode.
But that's
they're
what's-
not.
That's what that was the whole point of this. Is why
But
and you've helped me understand something a little better here. You have. But my overall point was, and you just clarified it, the teaching part of it, that's a good way of phrasing it. And I had not thought to phrase it that way. But those folks, some of them, I hate to use the word minority, it gets construed. The minority of that group of people that would feel mislabeled, the minority are for whatever the reasons are militant and angry, and when they lash out, that does not help other people just trying to have dialogue with them. And I guess that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. I don't, it isn't about me being upset. Yeah, it was a little upsetting. I mean, because I didn't know how to respond around the rest of the people. If it was one-on-one, I would have recovered fine. I would have eaten that anger and let them vent. And I said, hey, I come at you with complete apology. I just didn't know. When it's in group settings, you're limited in what you can do. And I just wish everybody take a deep breath. Is the other person really trying to offend or piss me off, or was it an accident, or was it an involuntary reaction? Can I correct this civilly? That's all I'm asking. Doesn't happen all the time.
But would you be willing to?
Like, what do you mean?
You just said, could I solve this? You know, I mean,
well, yeah, you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings on purpose.
I've never, on these three circumstances, just to work very clear, I am not a person that then engaged in this person. I'm the doormat. I couldn't apologize more. I laid low. There wasn't any snide remarks.
Why would you have to?
But then you're here complaining that you had to.
I am complaining of the uncomfortableness of what that caused. It was unnecessary. The message could have been given to me 1,000 different ways other than doing that.
What he's saying is you don't have to be over the top about it.
That didn't help. I mean,
I see.
Oh, no, my feelings aren't hurt about it. Listen, I don't want, because here's the thing, Katie, I don't want to call somebody something that they are not happy with. It's just, for God's sake, an accident happens. You can't. I guess you can't expect everybody to know what's in your brain at all times. And there's a portion of our society that expects their thoughts to be already known by the public. It can't work that way. And there are people that are trying to make it work that way. And they just are. And you can't put them in any certain group or any certain cause, because they're everywhere in those causes. Small minorities of people. But man, you can't come at people with viciousness. And see, this is the shame about what I thought the right has always done to the left, is that they brand liberalism as this crazy yelling, or feminism as this crazy screaming. That's not what feminism is. But you'll see a now march, years prior, where they're screaming and they're getting in the face, and there's a couple women that have been used as memes over the years for in that branding. It not only is it disingenuous, it doesn't help. It doesn't help the cause, and it isn't just feminism; it's other causes too.
I know.
But that militant way then gets stereotyped to the cause. That's the issue I have, and so first thing I see in my head is like, oh my God, I'm completely sorry that when you're lashing out at me the first time I meet somebody, come on.
But that almost
There's a better way to live
it,
that way. There's a better way to live. There's got to be a better way to talk to each other. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. We don't talk anymore. We talk at instead of talking to. And in all honesty, it's where did society go wrong with that? You know what I mean? You're not really communicating with somebody unless you're in their face.
You know what's interesting too? Rogan said this a while ago, and it was pretty good. He said the reason why his show was so popular was I do old school in that I ask people questions instead of delivering statements. He said most people communicate with statements. They're telling you something. I mean, and then they're assuming that they understand what you believe, and that's how they learn. No one asks questions anymore in daily life, not podcasts, in daily life. And I pondered that for a while, and I think there's some validity to that. There is. I don't know. Were we afraid to ask questions of people? Were we afraid of the answers? I don't know.
You know what's funny is I never put two and two together, but because I work with a lot of different new people all the time, I'll ask you a question. Hey, and it's just basic. It's not like personal. It's not like invading somebody's privacy. But that's I don't know, pat my back or whatever. But that's my way of communicating with people. And, just hey, how are you? Where are you from? How long have you been doing this? Just little basic things. You have to get to know somebody. Rather than to just sit around
on
like
a topic.
Exactly.
Good
You know what I mean?
Good point.
And that's it's. I think maybe like people think I'm a I'm a nice guy or
With
whatever.
great hair.
With great hair.
Pantene.
So what shampoo do you use? But
All right, enough of the long hair, Fred.
But
long hair, peaceful warrior. That's what we call him now.
but that's exactly it. And I think that if people would ask more about people around them rather than talk about themselves or tell about themselves or tell their point of view before they actually get to know somebody.
It's all like topic based. It's
Yeah.
all
What do you
like
mean?
I'm
Yeah.
transgendered, I'm gay, I'm not, I'm a wife at home, I'm this and that. Instead of like to your point, it's like, well, how was your childhood?
Right.
Yeah. What did
Right.
you?
Because
Where,
you
where
know
did
what?
you grow
Just
up?
because you guys are white males doesn't mean it didn't go through shit.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I get it for a social standpoint to move issues forward that we kind of have to deal in those categories.
Agreed.
But then also the people who you commune with to navigate those issues, you really get to know.
Yeah.
And that's where
Well, that's what I would
That's
hope.
where instead of coming at you being like, how dare you not know I'm Mike and not Michelle, instead of then if you had been their friend, you would have known why that happened.
You know, it's crazy. One of the three guys that I mislabeled, and we got through the transaction. They actually, this in this instance, weren't my client. They were the not opposing the. They were the sellers. I was the buyers. The point was, I got to know of this person, this man, ended up being a great photographer. Like I was looking up his work online.
You're spilling the beans on me.
And I said, Katie, I said this to myself. I said, you know what's amazing? Had he not came at me like that and put me on my heels, and then me not having any real want to go over and get to be uberly friendly, I would have loved to have known this person or even had a conversation about photography with this person because of what they.
But then,
unbelievable.
Listen, but then
it was unbelievable.
Think about anything else in like your wives.
It was a
or
missed
whatever.
opportunity.
But think about this. Why can't you forgive him for that?
I do. Oh, I don't hold any grudges, but I don't feel.
It turned you off. But here's the
I
deal:
don't feel compelled to go in
when
there and-
when you're arguing with your wife and she's getting angry at you, and you know it's coming from a whole different egg
Mm-hmm.
than what she's actually delivering. That's how I feel. It's like, when women get upset in a situation they necessarily don't need to get upset in. I'm like, that's because they're the only woman in the room, and they're feeling like a thing.
Okay.
But it really isn't them.
All right.
So what I'm saying is, when this artist that you would have loved to have known
Right.
had but for what he did, or she did, he, so then just let it lie and revisit, and then when
I might,
he
at some
pisses
point
you
in
off
time.
again, then be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. No. And being that it wasn't my client, it would be extra uber inappropriate to maybe reach out about the work at this time. I'm not emotionally ready to do it yet. I don't think. Maybe at some point I will. But
Could you imagine?
You're not invested in it.
I wasn't. Go ahead.
But you're not emotionally right. Can you imagine the other side?
I always try to put myself on the other person's side. It's hard though.
That's one
It's
thing that
hard,
I
though.
always do.
But that's everything.
But see, when I'm not
But see, you
wired
guys are
to-
too much in your own
like, what do you mean?
rightness.
No.
No, because we treat people right.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
That's the bottom line. Is Look, I grew up in the theater. All
I
right.
grew up in the theater.
Okay, so there's all types of people in the theater. People don't bother me. I'm not right in what I'm saying. I treat people equal. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you do. I don't care
Yep, that's how you-
what your
that's-
religion is.
that's you.
So there's no politically right or male privilege or white privilege with me. That's how you're supposed to treat people.
But-
all people. You see little kids playing together. They don't see black. They don't
Right.
see white. They don't see. My parents raised me right. I had my best friend was of color. Some of my best friends now are of color.
But we have to be aware there's a lot of parents that didn't raise children.
Well, that's
right.
exactly it.
But there would be no harm in you having patience for somebody who didn't.
My thing is I teach people what to do.
Okay.
And it doesn't make a difference if what background you are. I'm one of the people out there that if you have a question, I'll answer it. And I don't come down on you.
I mean, you're amazing. I'm not saying that, and I don't mean to do this because you guys are great, but it's not across the board that every guy would do that.
No, it's not.
You're absolutely right.
You're absolutely right on it.
Yeah.
And you know what? You were talking about, walking into a room and having some. You know what? I'm a guy. It's happened to me.
And I'm saying, really?
It has.
Wait.
It has.
Do tell. This is a whole podcast in its own right.
But the bottom line is it goes.
With hair like that, how could it not, right?
It goes both ways. So I understand what you're saying, and it's inappropriate. And yeah, if I was you, I wouldn't want to be in that position. And
But
it has been me.
But as a guy that we would, I could never understand
it rolls
what
off my
women
back.
have gone through. Because I remember, listen, I'm old enough to remember going for my senior project in high school. I had a camera, and I was going to take pictures of the construction in downtown Pittsburgh where they were building the subway. It was 82, 81, and I understood at that moment what catcalling was as I watched it for an entire afternoon, and I remember it being 14, 15, and getting on the bus, the 21A, to come back to Coriopolis and hiding my camera, of course, going through the rocks. But knowing that was, it made me feel sick. Like, I didn't find it funny. I didn't find it,
it never bothered me just because I knew that whoever was doing that to me in whatever form, fashion, was sad.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for their wife.
But I felt bad. And I was a young male. Watching it happen was like, wow. And again, I'm not putting myself on any platform. It was like this. I knew inside it wasn't right. I just knew it. What I was witnessing, like, holy shit, really happen? This is really happens. Does that still happen in 2021?
Yeah, it does.
Really?
I was walking to my lawyer job where I had a corner office with a conference table in my office, getting catcalled. And I'm like, have fun at your $10 an hour job.
What do you mean?
I'm making 180
from the hallway or from the outside?
Oh no, from the when I graduated law school, I worked in Syracuse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking Syracuse.
We're talking Syracuse. Dinosaur barbecue.
Dinosaur barbecue. That's right.
All right.
Of course. We had a pee break.
Are you gonna air that?
No.
You
Maybe.
did. You did before. Wait.
All right, back from the pee break. Hello.
All right, I'm good.
All right, right turn. So we're going to be entering an era where the mask regulations are slowly coming off. CDC has given the ability for us to maybe not, those that are vaccinated, not wear masks. So first off, how are they going to determine where and when you don't have to wear a mask? And ultimately, how are they going to determine who is vaccinated and who is not? Are there going to be a
you get a
ID card? Is there going to be, what's there going to be?
Well, you get a card, so that's what it's going to be.
You think
if they want to like start telling people, that's what it's going to be.
So you're going to have to start showing ID, because right now someone
Well,
said
I show ID to buy alcohol. Maybe you don't have to anymore, but I do.
I don't
But
buy alcohol
I'll gladly show my Vax card.
Well, that's my whole point. So that's funny you said that. So you think that's what it's going to be?
Why does that not offend you? But the Vax card does.
I'm not offended by anything.
All right, really.
No, see, I think you confuse the word of being offended.
By being bothered.
I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed.
You're annoyed.
A lot.
It's so different.
It is different. It's a lot different. I think if you get on I think if you look to be offended by things all damn day,
Some people do.
Offended touches you inside where you want to lash out. When you're annoyed, it's like, oh Christ! But I move away.
Not again.
I move away from it. See, that's different to me. I think the annoying part: are you coming back with something? Are you going to lash out of it? Then you're obviously offended. If you have to tell somebody, then you're
I think
fucking
annoyed
offended.
is way more personal. If you're annoyed by something, that means you can choose to do or not do. Offended means you can just walk away from the issue.
Well, my definition of offended, what?
Yeah, see, I think
you're
if you're annoyed, you could just walk the fuck away. It's
Yeah.
just like,
Right.
I'm tired of this
Right.
shit.
When you're offended, you have to lash out and
No, you don't.
I believe that people, well, then I really don't care if people are offended then. If they're just going to walk away, that's fine. But if you're going to engage me, you want to do that at that time. I don't care. You're parsing.
You're engaged whether you're annoyed or offended. So pick one.
Oh my God, I'm offended by a lot of things.
All right, what are you annoyed by?
I'm annoyed by many things. I'm offended by everything. People are just
there it
stupid.
is.
Tear it
People
down.
are just stupid.
Tear it down.
Tear it
Cancel
down.
it.
Yeah, just cancel everything.
Burn the
Cancel
fucking-
everything. Let's just all be like orbs, just sitting in the sand, not moving, not looking, just sitting there, not saying anything. We offend
Imagine
somebody.
yourself on a sandy beach, just sitting.
Anyways, are we going to get back to normal here? How are they? You're saying the Vax card's going to be your ticket to do stuff now? Really?
Got a ticket to ride.
Oh,
Who
man.
did that? What was that?
I'm not
She's
allowed to say
got-
because we'll have to pay them.
Oh, really?
The Beatles. Ticket to ride.
Yeah.
Aren't
Got
they all
it.
dead? Well, but one.
Isn't it interesting though? Like, I find this fascinating. So, you have the right leading people in this country. No, what's so funny? This is.
You find it fascinating.
I do. I find this fascinating.
I
find
feel
this
like you find every 5 minutes fascinating. So let's
I
see.
feel life is fascinating. Slightly annoying at times.
Not offensive.
Never
though.
offensive. No, not offensive. No, I'm undefendable. What I will tell you is the right believes in complete gun rights to the point where showing an ID or registering guns should not even be addressed or even thought about. They want no registration for firearms. The left wants to either ban firearms or regulate firearms, or at least some kind of ID system in there. Okay, so the right doesn't want any documentation. The left, the left does, right? When it comes to voting, the left is like, "Oh, you don't need your ID. Why do you need an ID for? Just we trust you. Show up, give us your name, and you can vote." And the right wants people to show their driver's license or some kind of government-issued ID. They're completely opposite. So you would think, as an outsider looking into the legislators, hey, I see an opportunity for compromise. Wouldn't it be fascinating if the right would give in a little bit and register guns, and the left would say, hey, you need an ID for anything now to buy liquor, or you have to have an ID. Or if the cop pulls you over, you have to prove who you are. I think you should have to have a driver's license or a government ID to vote. Not a big compromise there. Those two issues could come together, solve themselves, resolve themselves, right?
No, because there's too many.
But
there's
it
too many
won't
other issues
happen.
attached to those agreements.
Like what?
Everything else.
Like what do you mean?
Well, if they're going to give in to that, then they want these three things agreed to, and they want these.
Right. That's yes, and that is the problem with government. But I mean, what an opportunity here! If the two sides can't ever get anything done, here's an opportunity with two big issues that they're both.
It's never going to happen.
Of course not.
No, and that's.
But there
It is what it is.
But there's the opportunity, and I guess
there's been many opportunities for this.
But
to
the happen.
idea
idea of the documentation is fascinating to me. One side doesn't want documentation for voting, but they want it for guns, and the other one wants it for voting to prove you're a citizen, but they don't want it for guns. It's really interesting. And now, that kind of sprung to mind because you're talking about having to show a Vax card to do stuff, to go to Yankees.
Well, I
game.
I don't know if that's true, but I
think
have
we're
one.
headed that way.
Yeah.
And that's,
you're gonna have to show a Vax card for travel. You're gonna have to show.
Well, I just was going to go to a girls' night tonight at this karaoke
Whoa,
place.
I thought you had a dinner to make.
I have a dinner between.
Oh, yeah.
No, I have a dinner between
she's
that
going to
and
a Korean barbecue. Is where she's going.
No, Cobra, Pittsburgh. But now I can't go because the guy I'm seeing is not vaccinated.
Oh well, there you go.
Why can't he go?
Why can't he go?
Because everyone else that's invited wants.
Is he an anti-vaxxer?
Yeah.
Or he just didn't get around
Check
to
out
it yet?
here. Now here's the thing. Here's the weird thing with
He's
me.
not gonna do it.
As I'm an anti-vaxxer. I actually am. I don't dig vaccines for my own personal reasons, but I got my vaccine because I want to work. So,
Got it.
but I mean, if it comes down to it, I just don't.
Katie gave one of the greatest analogies has ever been on 198 episodes of this show. She said about opening the doors last time she was on about guys will open the door for you with no mask.
Yeah.
But she also said that same guy will drive here and obey the speed limit sign, which is there, but the
Yes, I
government
did.
telling them to put a mask on. No, I ain't
My
doing
favorite
that.
was
Are they going to ask them? People are going to ask you if you're vaccinated?
No, remember I told you it's a private room.
Yeah.
And all the people that were invited us now don't want this guy to come.
Okay.
Anyway, it's fine. I'll sing on my own.
You'll sing.
Whatever. And I have a great song.
What are you going to sing?
Bonnie Tyler.
Total eclipse of the heart.
Totally.
I could see you doing that. I could see you doing that.
Once upon a time.
There is another person in my life that wait,
Do tell.
chain smokes
Ah,
for years around my
hate that
children.
I hate
it's
that.
the
What's over? Are
worst.
you for it or against it?
No, I don't give a shit. I was like, here are my kids.
It's around your kids.
My kids, whatever.
It's
whatever.
her kid chain
No,
smoking.
he's like
it's a 3-year-old.
6 feet. Can't come near me. And I'm like, wow, because you're more worried that you're going to shit the bed.
He's 6 feet.
But you've been blowing smoke in my mouth for like years.
Oh man,
Hot box.
isn't that the worst?
And they're like, oh no, but I'm like, you probably would die if you got this because you treat your body like a trash can. But
Body like an ashtray.
yeah, he's like, I haven't seen him in nearly 2 years now.
That COVID's not going to get me.
That's so funny. That business philosopher I used to listen to, Jim Rohn, he had a great, one of the stories was, and I won't tell you the story, but at the end of it, he goes, I don't know. He goes, it's a lot of Bible nonsense, a lot of Bible naysayers out there. He says, but I will tell you, what's the Bible say? Treat your body like a temple. A temple. He goes, not a trash can.
Right.
And he was right. He's right. I believe that. I think this pandemic.
I'm a temple on Sundays.
I kind of think that alcohol kills everything. So
It actually does.
You may, Fred will outlive all of us. So you're gonna have to show a vax card. You think this is gonna where we're headed? You don't think we're headed there?
Who knows?
I mean, because here's the thing. I'm the kind of asshole that may wear masks in public
See,
for a while.
I don't have
Like in
I don't have the gumption.
To what?
I haven't to care. I'll show it if I have to show it. If I don't, I got
oh
vaccinated.
yeah, I'm with you.
I can't. If I had like literally nothing else to do, maybe I'd take.
It's not worth fighting about or even pondering about. I just find it curious, because that's a big thing.
I feel like it's curious that it's such a new vaccine that all of a sudden is saving the world. But then I know many moms who never got their babies vaccinated for anything like measles, mumps, rubella.
Mm-hmm.
Like 9 years ago.
And they got this?
I don't know. Yes. I know one that did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't care. I do me, you do you. Go, let's shop.
Exactly.
I can't handle it. It's too much. Now, for your purposes, it's a topic. So I get it.
Yeah. No. Any topic goes here, and if you're indifferent, because it sounds like you're a little bit indifferent because you just don't want to be bothered with it.
I'm so indifferent because I
love indifference.
I feel like there's so much more to talk about. Now,
yeah,
there's just so much more to talk about, and also, like, I'm vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of my friends aren't.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing cards tonight. Like, I don't care.
So again, back to that thing about being offended for a second. Hear me out. So what you're saying is there's so many things, other things in life to worry, to be concerned about or think about or act on. And if the government's asking you to do another thing, quite frankly, there's speed limits, there's all kinds of laws.
That's my point. I have to live my life via everything.
Exactly.
United States.
Exactly.
So why the hell now is this going to be the thing?
So why?
So whatever. So okay, I got vaccinated. Next.
So why are so much of the public looking to be quote unquote offended by any request?
Because I think it gives people a reason to platform something.
But why? Okay. So yes, it does. And why is the average Joe or Judy out there that may have 20 years ago not thought about being platformed by anything or jumping on a platform?
Because there wasn't one.
But why is it so necessary now?
Because there is one. There's a pandemic that happened, and now it's like fishtail onto the coattails of this. I mean, you could make anything and anything.
But why do we do that now? Because of social media? Because it's important to label us as this or that, or you're this and you're that?
it's a perfect storm of everything.
Like what do you mean?
It's a pandemic, which
Yeah.
we've never had,
Right.
and also
Well, Fred was around for the first one
every.
100 years ago.
100 years ago, I was.
Is that why the hair
That's yeah.
still?
I haven't got a
it
cut
still
since 100 years.
glistens at the end.
Cut those split ends, Fred.
Back when I was right.
You're not that much older than me.
I'm old. I am 52 next week.
Wow.
Oh, what are we doing?
Probably working. I've worked on my birthday. This is down the rabbit hole. I've worked on my birthday probably, I don't know, if I'm 52, 49 out of 52 years on my birthday. I've been, because I don't really celebrate it. So
Why?
I don't know why.
Just another day.
Why do people celebrate birthdays?
I
to me?
love my birthday
Why?
because it's about me.
See, that's the difference. It's not
That's the
about
difference.
me.
I'm not pushing my agenda. 364 one day.
364.
There's one day
One
she's
day.
not indifferent.
It is November 15th.
She's not
It
indifferent.
is all
on
about
one
Katie.
Day.
Yes.
On one day, I'm not indifferent.
Yeah,
I turned
I-
46 this year.
Well, one of the funny things is on my birthday I've had a lot of great things. I started my first movie on my birthday.
Yeah.
I had my
It's a
scene.
momentous day for you.
Like you got the Tias.
I started my I caught myself
Sorry.
rocking. I work all the time on my birthday, but it's always I remember being on tour with Zach, and he had me come out on stage and they sang
Zach
Happy-
who?
Zach Wild, the guitar player. He's
that blonde guy
kind of a
behind
big
you up
deal.
there. Blonde guy up there. Blonde guy on that wall up there.
Yeah, he's back there. But yeah, so on my birthday I've had a lot of special things, but I've always worked. Like I did Night of the Living Dead on my birthday.
Well, it's kind of a nice thing.
I was on tour for my first tour on my birthday. My scene big scene, the personal friend scene in Rockstar was on my birthday. But I always do like
Wait, with Mark Wahlberg?
yeah.
Wait,
Oh,
You didn't know that?
She
I
didn't-
love that movie.
Didn't do her research.
You didn't know that Fred was in the movie?
no.
Oh, we didn't talk about that last time?
No.
I've done so many podcasts I can't remember.
Goodness, yeah. All right. So
I
anyway,
love
we gotta
it.
get a new guest.
I love him.
He's an awesome guy.
Fred's in that movie.
All right, I
Yeah.
She's going to go home tonight. She's going to scratch everything. She's not going to that party. She's going to go home and watch that movie. And you know what she's going to do? She's going to go, oh, my God. There he is.
I was sitting down with that guy today.
I know
Yeah,
that, man.
rock star. Yeah. Fred was.
But, yeah, so, that happened on my birthday. And, so.
Well, I got a better story. My
Sure.
daughter was born on my birthday,
Well, see, there you go. That's a good story.
When's your birthday?
January 29th.
All right.
And
What?
Gwen was born that day.
That's awesome.
And then immediately I was informed, once she was able to talk, I was informed that I no longer had a birthday because it is now her birthday. I said,
That's what happens.
Was it a planned thing or did she go natural?
It was all natural.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She
I
planned to
tried
take.
Push!
Well, my
You got 5 minutes!
my ex-husband's birthday is Halloween, and my son's birthday is November 1st. And I tried like everything to go into labor so they could have the same birthday. But of course, my Irish Catholic mother is like, I'm so glad my grandson's on All Saints Day and not
Not that
Halloween.
pagan Halloween.
right. Exactly.
The pagan Christmas.
So we have my one son is September 30th, and then my ex is Halloween. My son's November 1st, and then my girls are the 7th and on the 15th. So we're all like
Got it.
right there.
And it's the one day you're not indifferent. See,
It's the one day.
It is a phenomenon to me how adults, not all adults.
Oh, I
some
make it my
adults
day.
some adults are so. I can see it almost with women a little more than, but there are some men that I know. It's totally fine.
I wouldn't give
But
it
they
any
make a
pause
big
if anyone
fucking
wanted to
day.
make that one day their own.
I mean,
You give
in their
yourself
40s
all.
and 50s.
It depends.
Really?
Why is there a limit?
I mean, at some point in time, like I just don't. Holidays are just lost on me. I don't get it.
that's not a holiday. That's your birthday.
Well,
It's unique to you.
It's even. Is it?
For you.
I'm sure my birthday is shared by.
Listen, you
millions.
can't ruin this for me.
I'm not trying to ruin it for you. I would never do
'Cause I-
that. I'm kind. I wouldn't do that.
I
I'm
give
just
of
curious.
myself.
I'm just curious.
I'm here on a sunny Saturday for you in the
For
back
the next
cave.
3 minutes.
For the next 3 minutes.
Oh, we got time.
And no, we don't.
Where does she keep
You're
that?
right.
She like pulls it from her back. She's
lemons. Lemons. No, but I listen. Is self, I give of myself every day.
So what do you do on your birthday? Like, why is it a big day for you? And what do you do?
A couple reasons. One is it's the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And so it's like, and then the holiday season. So I give all my girlfriends a reason to come. I get a house in Deep Creek.
Huh?
Remember?
Yeah, that's right. You told me about that last year. Yeah.
And it's a huge house. It's gorgeous. And we just all come hang before family hits.
Okay.
And it's not about me. It sleeps 14.
It's about the event. It's about the event.
And I'm like, you come, pack your bag. The food's taken care of. Or they actually brought it. But, we're going to go hiking. If you don't want to nap, go in the hot tub. Go on your own hike. I don't care. It's about moms having a, weekend to do their own
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there were some... I just found it strange that there were people who... Like, I know a couple adults who would put on social media, 3 or 4 weeks before their birthday. Oh, my birthday's only 3 weeks away. Like the next week.
Oh, now I
my
feel like
birthday's
a
only
dude.
2 weeks away. I can't wait. I'm like, you can't wait. Okay, you're gonna get cake too.
I feel like
it's a little weird. It's a little weird. I'm sorry. It's one thing about saying, hey, we're all gonna go for my birthday. We're all gonna go
Well,
down
I
to
don't put
here.
anything on Facebook.
Well, no, this is where
But
I
some
think
people
I
do.
guess,
yeah,
there
I
are
know.
not many, but there are some adults who get off on the birthday thing weeks ahead of time preparing.
Oh,
for
I'm
this.
a year ahead. I'm like, but my girls know.
I'm a year ahead.
My girls know. They're like, are we in next November? Because it's all fellow moms just wanting that
No, I
4-day
get it.
break.
No. But that's different, though.
That's totally
That's
different.
different. Yeah, that's different. But there are some people that are,
Eric, my birthday's next week, May 22nd.
That's what I'm saying. What are we
Send
doing?
gifts, care of Eric McKenna Project. Not saying that
I don't know if you'll get them.
money or booze is good.
Cases of booze will be delivered. I guarantee. I put this out. Cases of booze. I'll be getting the neighbors calling me, hey, Eric. It'll be the middle of Tuesday morning. There's cases down
when
here.
you label this one, say it's Freddy's birthday.
Freddy's pre-birthday.
No, because by the time then you can get them.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that won't be out in time.
2 days.
It won't be out in time.
I'm turning around 2
No,
days.
please don't send me anything to Eric McKenna Project, P.O. Box.
You have a following. Now I'm a little nervous.
I know you've been following. That's why you're here.
I'm worried about if my truck's still there.
Well, you're in Coriopolis.
It's down near the CVS or whatever it is.
How far did you?
Because I was nervous I wouldn't get parking
I got a
up here.
I got a great story. So I won't tell you who the guest is, but I had a guest on early on, and they had been to Coriopolis 35, 40 years ago. And they hadn't been in. He said, well, I haven't been in Coriopolis in almost 40 years. I go, that'll be refreshing to come down there. I'm like, okay.
Refreshing.
That's what he said.
Refreshing.
So he pulled, he's on his way here, and he calls me on the phone. He says, it's like, is it safe to park down there?
I'm not gonna lie.
I go, it's fine. It's fine. He goes, well, the Coriopolis, I remember, it wasn't really safe down there. He's like,
This is like the rapid fire question time, and you're not delivering.
we've been delivering. You've been kind of distracted a little
Oh,
bit.
Yeah,
for
she's on the phone.
It's like
Texting her girlfriends.
It isn't the girlfriend.
November
it's the-
16th.
It's the boyfriend, and she's really
It's the
texting me. Why the
15th.
fuck didn't you get the vaccination? Now we can't go to the karaoke. That the Korean.
I literally just.
That's probably.
If you wouldn't have been such a stubborn ass, you would get the vaccination. We'd be
I
able
had
to
a-
hang out tonight and go to the
I
Korean
had a
barbecue and do
song
the
all
Korean.
picked out
and I
for
was going
you.
to sing Bonnie Tyler for you, and it was going to be awesome. But
Turn
you.
around every now and then. All right, I'm
Turn
These are
around, you
good mics
don't
to
have
sing
a
through.
vaccination card. Turn around, go home. Every now and then I fall apart.
and it's your fault.
Oh man,
Listen,
no, we can't.
I'm fucking deaf now.
Somewhere, there's a dog going like this.
Well, now the chorus could be about the vaccine. I need you.
You should change the lyrics. You should change the lyrics.
Yeah, right?
Hold you tight.
So now, so where are you guys going now? That she's not.
Well, she's
You
going.
got to go someplace. Where,
She's excluding him. She's
You
going.
have to go someplace
I'm not gonna go.
that permits the unvaxxed.
The unvaxxed are welcome in. Well, I'm not going to say.
It's like the unvaxxed. It's like,
I almost went there.
Come slide.
With my slow limp.
Oh shit!
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, the unvaxxed. We're gonna look back on this and laugh our ass off. Do you think the pandemic as a whole is going to be something we're going to look back as a blip in our lifetime, or
Absolutely.
or is there
And
going to be
I think
lingering?
I think it's going to be
shit?
a lesson in how people react to a pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a lesson in how pandemics are handled.
You don't say.
It should be a lesson on how to
Right.
should be
But
how
I
not
think-
to handle a pandemic.
I think in societal terms, it's going to be how we can gauge how people are going to react.
The scope of it's so big, though. There's no way to shut down society. Think about I mean, when they said we were going to do that,
Right.
I don't mean sections. Shut down society. I laughed. I remember laying in bed watching TV because I never do that.
I
And
sometimes wonder if it was.
they
for
shut
her.
down society.
So now let's ask ourselves, why? Part
I mean,
two
listen.
of
I mean, if I had been a patient of compromised immune system, of course I would have taken, whatever. And I was never around people that were sick or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But even now, it's like,
My whole family had it, but me. Everybody got it, but me.
Yeah.
I stayed. We have a big house, so I stayed in the game room for away from all of them.
was that hard for you?
I enjoyed it. Nothing personal. I enjoyed
well,
it.
the pandemic's still going on.
Yeah.
Here it is, 5 years
He
later.
doesn't want it to end.
Now everybody else
I'll
has
be
it.
in the
I'm
game
not,
room.
I'm not vaxxed. I don't want to take any chances on giving it to you guys.
I
so.
may wear a mask in public, in stores and things for a while. I might be that guy you'll see out there wearing
No,
it.
that's fine. I never had a problem with that.
I have to wear a mask, and I really don't care because of my work. I mean,
Yeah.
we get tested every week. I get I have to fill out a questionnaire every day, but we get tested.
It's really changed the dating game.
See, that's just it. I
Because
don't.
on Match now, you're like, guess what I look like? No one knows. I'm not a Match.
You're not on Match.com. It would be funny to peek in there and just see if people were putting mask photos on there. That'd be hysterical.
Because then there's an alliance of I'm a mask wearer, you're a mask wearer. But then it's even better for people who can't get a date anyway. Because then
It's like a
don't know what they look like.
semi-blind date.
Yeah.
It's like don't know what you're gonna get. You can take some mask down. And
oh,
it's,
that'd be a game show.
you know what? That's exactly. But you don't know if it's like a Dave or Mike or a Michelle.
All right.
You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. It's like
Comes
had-
full circle.
That's I had to do it.
You
I
had to go there.
I had to bring it back full circle.
That's the great thing about this. This is so unvarnished and real, man. That's why I didn't want to do shows that were just not like this. This is what I wanted to do.
Me and Freddy.
No, I want someone that I have no
You know what
problem.
you could do?
Anyone calling me out on anything.
You could do shows that are like really substantial and then pepper him and I in. Like,
There you go.
Like on the subject and be like, oh,
Wait.
you should do a circle.
We could just do
Wait,
sound
Freddy?
bites.
You should do like, we could be like the little voices in the circle, be like, ah, like whatever.
Little sound bites he just
Yeah.
puts in.
You could
And
be
he's
in
like-
over there on
and then he
closed
could-
circuit, like watching this shit, and then filming you over there
Yes.
laughing.
Yes. And it'd be like, or he'd be like, or not.
The Eric
Like,
McKenna
you know.
project was filmed before a live studio audience in the next room.
That's
I
actually
like
not-
it.
That's actually
'Cause
there's got
then
to be a way to do
You could
something
film
like
people's
that.
reactions to what's happening.
I've people ask
That'd
me.
be amazing.
I have people ask me. They say, "Can I come down?" There's like nowhere to sit. Where the hell are you
Well-
going to sit at down here?
Well, they
we
could.
we could set a bleachers up over there, and they could social distance, and they
I
could
have to go.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes.
2
2 minutes.
minutes.
Wrap it up.
Actually, 6 more minutes. 45. We get 6 more minutes. Anyways,
It's not like she's going anywhere anyway.
There's an idea. I mean, your guy didn't. Your
I
guy.
have dinner
Your
between.
guy didn't care enough to get vaccinated
That's
for you.
right, you know,
I mean,
see,
really? Come
I didn't
on.
ask him to. But I have a dinner between now and the thing.
Hey, he could have ran up there to the Rite Aid and got it done while we were doing this show.
You parked there.
If you
come
love
on.
me, you'll do it.
Because I think we can put a fifth in here. I think we could right on the end.
We talked about that right there. Yeah.
Put another mic over there. We could, if we not for every show, but just we could have that possibility. We could make that.
You
work.
know what? It'd be like the Supreme Court. So there's like one extra, so it's not a tie. So she doesn't feel like we attacked women today. It could be.
I never said that.
No.
But
what I'm saying.
That side.
That's why I came over here today.
But see, that was on your mind.
What?
Yeah, not to put him over there.
I thought that too.
Well,
when I said I walk in a room, but
I would.
Why was it on your mind though?
Because it's not
because he wants to be on camera by himself.
No, again, it's selfish for me because that would mean.
But that goes into
it
my.
It would look like we're interrogating you, and I'm the one supposed to be driving the narrative, and you're both guests. That's why.
Oh,
that's why.
You're a guest.
I'm a guest.
Well, yeah.
And you know what? I feel offended that I'm just a guest. You hear this, folks? I'm a guest.
You should also be offended that he stopped at McDonald's and didn't get you anything.
You know what? I saw that. I saw. The line was too long for me to go today. I think the reason I was crabby today was because I was hangry. Yeah, I was hangry.
I don't buy food products at McDonald's ever. No.
You know what?
Don't believe in it.
He had Coke. He had Coke
McDonald's.
right here, right now. You know what I mean?
I love McDonald's.
Don't tell me you eat the McRib. Please tell me you don't eat.
No. I always get the number. Back in the day, it was the number 2 was 2 cheeseburgers and fries.
It's number 7 now because that's what I get.
I love it.
What's wrong with you?
One of my best friends from law. I told a story about him last time I was here, and we lived off of it.
McDonald's
In law school, yeah.
Yeah, I mean. Your college, it's not like you had money and you're putting yourself to law school.
My mom was like, "Here's $40 for a week."
Yeah.
No, I get it.
I've
eaten noodles
before. I just don't now. At this point in my life, I don't want to eat that shit. Just don't want to do it. And he likes the McRib, and I got other guests on this.
Oh
so
my
I
God,
can't say.
It's so good.
Have you ever the Baconator from Wendy's?
I have had the Baconator from Wendy's.
I love it.
Baconators. Yeah. I'll get the 2 for $6 Whoppers, and they're like, "Do you want anything else?" Nope, just 2 for $6 Whoppers because you can't eat anything after you eat 2 Whoppers. Baconators
I like
good.
a fry
I'll take
every
your word
mid-bite.
for it, Fred.
But the thing is, you can't eat a lot of fries.
I have to go.
She's going to Wendy's.
She's going to
going to
go get a
Wendy's.
She's getting some Baconator. All right, my friend, I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. We're going to take a quick pause, and Fred's going to jump in the hot seat and finish this up.
Fred's going to fucking leave here about
Don't talk
15 minutes. So we're.
Here, I'm gonna do this so that he's halfway fucking you. Then he can full fuck you when I leave. I mean, what you guys do on your own time is.
We're gonna talk about you. That's what we're gonna do.
Your ears are gonna be glowing red as you're driving down the highway.
Hey, I'll ask you after.
Thank you, my friend.
Bye.
Thank you, my friend.
Bye.
Remember the band, the Meat Puppets?
Fuck. All right, so I moved. Wow, this.
It's been a while.
Well,
You're over there, right?
the whole thing's fucking. No wonder you can't hear shit in these things.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's like really.
You can adjust that.
No, it's fine.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right,
Good.
so
Check. All right, good.
hold on.
I got you.
Yeah. All right.
Wow, that was interesting. I gotta be.
Okay. You don't play around.
She
She'll play around. She's fantastic. She's fantastic.
That was
man.
rock and roll, right
She's
there.
fantastic. Yeah. You can see why. And you know what? And this is what you and I were talking off camera a little bit. The idea of getting these unique people on this show, this 4 Friends series is the way to do it, man.
Yeah, there's 3 of us today.
Well, yeah. But the point is, it's just bringing different people in that really are good in the format. And this is where it's frustrating because some people are getting upset because I don't want to do shows either with them or with their idea of what we're going to do. And I said, look, man, it's nothing personal. This isn't. I'm not trying to hurt feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not the perfect place for everyone. Would you agree?
Yes.
This is not for everybody.
And definitely being with a wild card like me. You don't know. I'll sit there and then I strike. It's like, well, you know what? I think I'll throw my nonsensical 2 cents in right here and see what kind of feathers I can ruffle.
I don't know. I don't think this environment is suited for everybody. It's just not. And I think a lot of people think it is until they get here.
Until you're sitting in the seat.
Yeah, and so far we haven't had that issue.
Well, the thing is, I don't even know what the hell I'm going to say sometimes. You know what I mean?
That's the great thing about the Four Friends series, loose topics, and it just goes, and people seem to dig it. But there's no agenda. Like, we're not here, we're not here to push any kind of belief or any kind of product and all that shit. And I think that's what people don't understand. Fred.
Yeah,
they don't
exactly.
Get it. They don't get it.
It's open conversation. It's free form, and it's whatever happens. How many times we started the show on laughter, and at some point I think we were like yelling. Everybody was yelling at the same time. It's supposed to be about, let's talk about comedians. You know what? Fuck you and your fucking comedian. Two genders, Eric. One that suck dick. Those that don't suck dick. Fucking dead. It's just like, what the hell happened there? Where did that come from out of the blue? But yeah,
I don't know. The comedian thing is crazy for me because I love to laugh, and I don't laugh enough. But man, it's so. I don't know how they maneuver. Like, we had Craig Gass on a year and a half ago, and he was saying, now Craig seems to be able to figure it out, but man,
it's hard. I mean, even you watch these guys anymore. Here's the thing. You can't have a Lenny Bruce anymore. You can't have a Richard Pryor or a Red Fox or a George Carlin.
Even Eddie Murphy early.
Oh my God, some of that Eddie Murphy, dude. He had a whole thing on faggots. You know what I mean? You can't do it. You can't even say that anymore.
But how's Anthony Jeselnik make it work? Like, some guys
St.
just
Clair
don't
guy.
care. They don't care.
But he got canceled. You know what I mean? He had the show. But that's a Pittsburgh guy. Mm-hmm. He's from Upper St. Clair. And he gets canceled for just being offensive. And it's just like, But
there used to be a time when being offensive, in comedy was cool.
Yeah.
To some who liked comedy, right?
But that's exactly it. But now that you got too many people. Here's the thing. I don't know if you know this about me. I'll say something just to be offensive, just to shut you up, just to see your reaction, and that's my MO. When I fight, you talk to my like wives or ex-girlfriends or whatever. Yeah, I'm the guy that goes there to stop the argument. And it's just like I can't believe you said it. No, believe it because I'm going to do it. I'm going to say that, and I have that's just it. So. But in comedy anymore, you've got these cats that, they do have to watch what they say. Back in Chappelle, come on, 20 years ago. Clayton Bigsby.
Do you think he cares anymore, though?
He don't care. I
just listen to it. He's something. I like Dave Chappelle. He's beyond the comedy.
He but you know what? He's very, very. He's thinks about what he says, and his comedy makes sense. He brings up, topical issues.
Right.
And he says the things that we wish we could say, and he doesn't care because he's Dave Chappelle.
I think he speaks the truth. I think Rogan speaks the truth.
Yeah.
Not as much as Chappelle, but that they're doing what Seinfeld would do more eloquently and more innocently 30 years ago, because Seinfeld was about, reality, right? It just wasn't. He wasn't.
He wrote about real subjects in real time of what's going on at the time. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about. The shows. These are based on like actual real characters. You know what I mean?
Exactly
that
right.
he came. That Larry David or Seinfeld came in contact with in New York. It's full of characters.
Right.
And basically, they're poking fun at the society of that time that they saw.
Right.
And I kind of like to do that too. When I get silly, I don't say anything that I haven't observed.
I don't understand a couple of things. Like, you went out touring in the late 90s. You started touring, and all the shenanigans that went on, whether it was with Ozzy and Black Label, Zach, I would say maybe Alice in Chains, your early time with Megadeth, until society really started getting really interesting the past 8 or 9 years. Those early years for you, the stuff that went on, like, I can't imagine those same acts today acting and behaving the same way, or do they? Like, I mean, is the chaos that Zach went through and the chaos that he partakes in his whole circus as it rolls along? Do you think it looks, now obviously you're not there, so it has to look different, but is it different today than it probably was 20, 25 years ago? Or is Zach the same person?
You know what's funny is
We'll use him for an example.
Zach's a sober person right now.
Right.
But he's still fun. The thing is back in the day, the cat couldn't use a cell phone. He didn't have a computer. He couldn't use that technology. Now he does. He's sober.
Yeah.
But he's doing the funny things that we talked about doing
Right.
20 years ago, and he's bringing these silly videos to life, and he's embraced it. And I think that it's I can't speak for him, but part of his sobriety brought that in there, and I applaud him for it because he's reaching the potential that he knew he had. Mm-hmm. Again, his videos and his silliness that's the cat that I knew. That's the cat that I loved.
Yeah.
Do
you think he has to parse his words now? Was there anything that
he never did? You know what I mean? And there's like
does the metal community care about that stuff? The reason I ask that is music was always the unifier, right?
Yeah.
Male, female, genders,
now you've got that whole. You have your solid fan base, but you do have that cancel culture,
even in metal,
politically correct kind of shit.
Cancel out metal people?
It just somewhere, some way, somebody will do it, and it's just and it's a shame. It's a shame that you gotta. Even in metal, you have to worry about offending somebody, and it's the silliest thing. Or your littlest action could bring career-ending implications.
Yeah.
And that's just
sometimes that's just.
Sometimes it's just, but sometimes it's not. I mean, like years ago, Phil Anselmo puts his hand up, and somebody goes, "Oh my God, it's a Hitler salute." It's like, no, he just put his hand up. Now, some of the things that people say or whatever can be taken out of context or whatever.
But what's wrong with it then? If someone's offended by that, then why can't somebody apologize? Say, "Oh, okay, you know what? I was that. You know what? I shouldn't do it. I made a mistake.
I fucked up."
And why can't that be enough? Why does it have to go to the extent
because
of
people
ruining people?
And that's it. People do not stop until they ruin somebody. And it's my feelings are hurt over this, so I'm going to ruin you, and that's what it's become, But here's the thing: it's the internet and the social media that have made it possible, because these people want what you have. Mm-hmm. They want your fame, they want your success, and they want to take you down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's all it's become. Look what I did. It's really your
self-importance.
Yep, your self-importance. And it's like, dude, you've done nothing.
Well, that's the problem. They don't do anything.
They don't do anything. They sit behind a keyboard,
right,
and they judge from behind a keyboard, or they can perpetuate lies, or they can further their agenda for what they feel is, and if you can take somebody down, if you can. And the tactics these people use anymore, they're ruining people's lives. They're ruining people's careers. Again, we talked earlier, I can't remember if we did it on camera or off camera, of just something said that's caught on tape or whatever, or something done that's caught on tape. People air it now. Mm-hmm. And there's no repercussions for taking something that is taken out of context and putting it on the internet and saying, "Oh, look, this happened," because you know what? You have to defend it. And you have it there and it may be out of context, but you're fucked because you're being judged in the public eye.
Right.
And it's totally not what happened, but it appears that, I was wrong, or I did wrong, or this person.
There's no privacy anymore.
There's no privacy. And there should be. And that's the problem. If somebody could take somebody down that's bigger or more famous, or that makes, in their head, that makes them famous,
or
that
powerful.
makes them powerful. Look what I did. And you have that with this cancel culture today. Look what I was able to do. Look what we were able to do. What are you doing? You're tearing down a fucking statue. You're taking the 10 Commandments down off of guidelines of how you should live.
Yep.
Because I'm offended. What are you not saying the Pledge of Allegiance? What are you going to do? Kneel at the national anthem?
Mm-hmm.
This country made it possible for you to do that based on those principles. There's no guidelines for people anymore. There's no.
What's that decency thing? It's
There's
that Morgan Freeman in The Bonfire of the Vanities when he gives that lecture. Just be decent people. Just not decent. I don't think people, not everybody, I think there's a portion of people that don't know what even the word decent means.
Exactly, because they're not decent, because they weren't raised right, because, and I hate to say it, it's harder for people to live nowadays. Mommy and daddy aren't around all the time. Kids are left to their own devices, and those devices are the internet, the phone.
Well, they're not prepared for the real world.
Exactly. When I went to... I did a guest speaker at a college last year before the pandemic, and the guy said these kids have no clue, and I'm not capping on young kids because some of them do,
right?
But the majority of them think they're so self-entitled, that they think that they're just going to get up, somebody's going to give them a job, and they're going to make $100,000 a year, and they're going to walk in and they're going to do, and you see that. Even in every aspect of business and even laborers now think that, oh, look, I deserve this. No, you really don't. You have no experience. You go to McDonald's. This is no shit. This is no joke. I went to McDonald's the other day and got 2 cheeseburgers. We talked about this, but I got 2 cheeseburgers. But guess what? The cheeseburgers didn't have? They didn't put the meat on the buns. I got 2 fucking buns with cheese, ketchup, onions, pickles, and mustard, but no fucking. And I had to drive back. And I'm explaining to the manager, and she's like, "Yeah, but it's not the thing. I've actually had a Big Mac with bun." Hamburger, bread, lettuce, lettuce and onions in the sauce, and bun. They don't even make the things right anymore, but they're screaming they want $15 an hour. Pay attention to what you do. You have to, anything.
Jobs meant something.
Exactly.
When we were years prior,
people took pride in what they did.
And they weren't supposed to be careers.
No.
I mean, there were certain jobs in society that were ladders, steps on a ladder of life, right?
And it shows the lack of caring that people have nowadays coming up, starting young. Look, man, when I worked at McDonald's, and I hate to say it.
Wear the hat.
We had the brown uniforms back then, man. That's how bad it was. It was those nasty brown uniforms. But, but I cared about what I did. And I'm not being a dick when I say this, but it's because of my caring and my attention to detail that I was able to ascend a ladder and get better and better jobs.
Of course.
And I can do what I can do.
It's the natural order of things.
People don't do that. I've had people that I've tried to get jobs, and I say this. You drag them along, and it's just like,
Fred,
I'd rather do this.
Life's easy now. I hate to say that because people think, oh, life's not easy. If you look at it in the context of existing, just existing, it's easier to just exist today. You have more creature comforts today than if you just tried to exist 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's just easier now. There's more things given to you for your existing than there was then. So the motivation it just doesn't seem to be there in a lot of instances.
And that's exactly, it's about motivation. Again, when I did that guest speaker thing, the teacher said, these kids think that they're going to get handed a $100,000 job.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen. There is no, it's just people take things for granted, and they have great expectations, but they've got nothing to back it up.
No.
You know what I mean? And they have no experience to stay at that level.
I just didn't know that McDonald's was supposed to warrant, livable wage. That livable wage thing's puzzling to me because I don't know what a livable wage is. I don't know how do you...
I make a lot of money and I don't have a livable wage.
In the whole to carry it further, the whole minimum wage thing, I don't begrudge anyone their right to earn enough money to take care of your family, but if you honestly believe that a job at McDonald's or fast food, a clerk maybe, or a, whatever the term is, clerk, not trying to be demeaning, whatever the word is, let's say a Walmart stocker, a Walmart employee, or Home Depot employee, I didn't think those jobs were meant to be career choices in that position. I thought it was, the company could be a career potential for you, but I didn't think that particular job, you're supposed to be able to raise a family, afford on that. That's not how I thought society was structured.
No, exactly.
Maybe I'm wrong. I just didn't think that was how it was structured.
I have friends that work their asses off cooking and working in the restaurants businesses. You got to have 2 jobs just to, try, and you can't make it, and it's hard. Things have changed, and that's exactly it. Though these jobs are stepping stone jobs,
right?
And if you're stuck in that,
when did that change?
It just did.
I don't get it.
Growing up, you're supposed to take that job to get the experience to move on to a different job, and if you're stuck there, I laugh because, again, I watch a lot of memes.
As long as it's funny to you, Fred.
Just so it's funny to me. But this actually isn't funny. This is actually, so I was watching comedy memes, and something came up, and it was like this guy screaming at the camera, and he goes, look at the people around you. Look at your friends. He goes, this is why you're fucked up. And this is the meme. This is the meme. And he goes, this is why you're fucked up. Because you surround yourself with people that have the same lack of ambition.
Absolutely.
And that's why you're stuck in this.
There's 5 people around you, right?
Exactly. And the thing is, and here's the thing, Eric, and I started thinking, I've got me, I've got you, and I started thinking about the people that as I progressed, I surrounded myself with. You did pretty good, E.
I did okay.
Yeah.
I did okay. Life's been good.
And when the guitar business went belly up, what'd you do? You advanced.
Yeah.
And the same thing with
that's
me.
That's an attitude thing.
Well, that's exactly it. The same thing. When people thought I was dead when I left Black Label, because what else? Well, no, what are you going to do?
Right.
And it's just like, what do you mean? What am I going to do?
Right.
I'm going to find. I have options, and and I have a decent job here in Pittsburgh, but I didn't quit.
Right.
I didn't go belly up.
And that's more about the personal makeup of the individual, right?
And that's the problem. Is these kids
because we're weak today.
Because we're weak today. These kids are not taught that. They're expected to have things handed to them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like going into work today, so I'm going to call up. No,
there's some of that. There's some of that.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I don't feel like
And conversely, there's some incredibly bright. I mean, I'm very hopeful from what I see. I am. I think the best and the brightest are on these generations coming up. I see it, but I also see on the other side of it, not bad people. I just see an attitudinal thing, or maybe it's in society. They just don't have to put much effort in it to just exist.
The minimal effort to exist.
Yeah, that drives me nuts.
And people want to get, and that's going back to, and look, my jobs, 3 of them, 5 of them, whatever you want to say I have, were decimated by this pandemic.
Right.
It drove me nuts to sit around and collect that unemployment.
Right.
But you know what? I worked hard to get what I got.
Right.
And it wasn't like I wasn't trying to find a job.
Right.
I went to places. I wasn't making, nobody wanted me because you have too much experience. One job told me, look, we see what you made in other jobs, and we can't offer you that, so we know you're not going to stay. I'm like, look, man, I'll take anything right now.
Yeah, you're stuck.
I'll take the job. And he's like, nah, we know you're not going to stay, and we want somebody that's going to stay long term. He goes, because you could go back to that job when the pandemic's over.
Course.
And so, I'm like, look, I need a job right now, and I'll take it. And the guy's like, Nah, we know you're not going to stay. We want somebody that's going to stay long term. Yeah, it wasn't the most glamorous job, and it was hard physical labor, but I'm not afraid of doing it. I worked across the river right there. I worked at a steel mill. You know what I mean?
Oh, a lot of the work stage work you do now is construction and electrical and everything else. I mean,
so, and that's exactly it. And you know, but people don't want to pay. They were actually going to pay me $13 an hour, and I'm like, I'll take it. Yeah, I don't make $13 an hour making a movie or being on tour. But you know what? At that point, I said, I'll take it. You know what's funny?
Wouldn't give you the job.
Wouldn't give me the job. But you know what's funny? They still have that help wanted sign up. And it's just like, I came down, and granted, I wouldn't have it now because, I would have went back because I'm making movies again, making TV shows. But the bottom line is they still have that sign up. But
no long-haired peaceful warriors, Fred.
Yeah. But the thing is if I went down there, why didn't some other kid go down there that's working his ass off at McDonald's? You know, you could have applied for the same job, and I don't think that they would have passed.
Hard labor is viewed differently today than it was decades prior. I think so. You
know, and I was lucky enough to work in a mill. You know what I mean? And I have my upbringing comes from good parenting, man. Mm-hmm. My mom and my dad, you know, they let me do what I wanted to do, make my mistakes, but I watched my mom go to college and work a job. Right. I watched my dad go to the mill every day. Right. You know, and you know, that's, you know, the mindsets of things are different now. You know, it's mind-boggling.
Is it though? I mean, a lot of that's learned, but some of it I think is the individual. Like I can't sit still for long periods of time. I have to be up doing something. And that doesn't always mean creating something, but it means having the activity along with the creation. So if I'm I can't sit down and watch movies after movie. I can go to a concert, then I have to leave. I can't go to an all-day festival because I will lose my mind staying there all day doing the same thing. I have to, but there is a good portion of our society that I realize is not wired like me, and I respect that completely. But I just don't know. It isn't even an aversion to hard work, Fred. I think it's an aversion to activity. Like, I think we're so used to being spoon-fed everything now. A lot of our life is
we have access to
delivered
everything.
Right to us.
It's at your fingertips. Anything you need is at your fingertips on your phone. If you want to fly to Florida right now, you can. You can just get on and buy a ticket and fly to Florida. Mm-hmm. You know, when we were young, that was a big thing.
Yeah, flying was a huge thing.
Yeah, you know,
that's a once in a lifetime shot for me when I was a kid. Was flying on an airplane.
I didn't fly on an airplane until I was 28, 29. Wow. You know, and I was, you know, the joke is on those early Black Label tours, I was terrified of flying, and I wouldn't get on the plane. And I remember me and Zach, you know, Zach trying to get me on a plane I was in LAX, and Zach's like, dude, he's trying to get me drunk to get me on the plane. I'm like, I'm going to get on the plane. Here I am on tour with Black Label, and I'm fighting him about I'm not getting on that plane. And we're at LAX, and we're drinking. And I just remember we started drinking. He goes, come here, go for a walk with me. And we take our beers, and we walk out of the bar, and we're walking through LAX drinking beers. And the cops come stop us. Cops stop us. And he goes, what are you doing? And he goes, dude, I'm trying to tell him to get on the plane. The guy goes, wait, no, I'm not talking about it. What are you drinking beer? He goes, get rid of that beer. You can't drink beer outside of the bar. And I just remember Zach looking at the guy going, what do you mean? He goes, I'm trying to get him on a plane. And he's like, no, you can't drink the beer. And Zach goes, get rid of it. He goes, throw it in that garbage can right now. And Zach goes, and he looks at me, and I chuck my beer. We throw it in a garbage can. But that was like the bottom line. You know, it's just like the silliness of, you know, I didn't want to get on a plane. And once I got comfortable being on a plane, right now I can't. And I only sat in the back. You know why? I've said this before. Why did I sit in the back? Because when you see a plane crash video, that's the only thing that's remained. You know, only the tail. So I'd like sit in like the last 3 rows of a plane,
just hedging your bets.
Yeah, and then once I got used to it and being spoon-fed all the time, and once I got the upgrades automatically. And once I became used to sitting in first class. I didn't want to go back.
Of course not.
I didn't want to go back to sitting in that tail.
Life was good.
Yeah, life was good. This is how it should have been the whole time. And I think that that's what's happening right now with people is they've got it so easy.
I think so.
And they never had to sit in the back of the plane.
I think so.
You know,
I think so.
They've been sitting up front the whole time, and they don't know what it's like to take a step back.
Well, we have all the creature comforts imaginable.
Exactly.
Now. I mean,
everything's at your fingertips.
And Fred, we would have reacted the same way back then had we had this stuff. Would we had big screen TVs and phones and all this the internet and all the connectivity? We would have acted. I mean, there's nothing. I don't think nothing different from our generation and the generation behind us, and then the following generation. It's just what they're provided with to maneuver their life.
Exactly. Different. It just becomes so easy. And you know what's funny, Eric? We sound old because
we do sound
old. You
old.
better believe that the people in the 50s would said that about the kids in the 60s.
Look at that long-haired, peaceful warrior over there.
And it's gone down the line, and now we're sitting around.
I recognize it.
And
I get it.
It's shit like that makes me giggle and laugh. You know,
even in music, you know, like I'm so convinced that my era of music was the best. Of course I am, because my parents were convinced that their era of music was the best. Were like, oh, and I get that my kids will look at my music saying, "What the hell is that?"
I sit around and look, and I hate to say it like this because it is. It's so Pittsburgh to say it because it's, you know, but I don't hear a new Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah,
I don't hear a new Free Bird.
A good point.
You know, I don't hear these songs that were iconic.
It was a magical 3 decades, man. 60s, 70s, and 80s were magical.
What do they have now? I don't hear anything new.
Right.
And so I'm like, man, am I getting old? You know, because what name one. And I listen to new music.
I'm there.
You know, I listen to music. There's some good stuff, but there's no lasting stuff. And I think that's the problem with a lot of things. There's no lasting connection. I think everything's disposable, and you know, and that's how the world has become. People are disposable. Music's disposable. Everything in your life's disposable. There's no value to hold on to things.
Right.
And and you know, I mean, I think that's, you know, when you live in a disposable society, you know, I think that's what everything is. It's just too easy to say, I don't want to work for this. I can go over here and get it again.
Yeah, it really is about effort, like how much energy and effort has to be put into things, and it's too. I think it's too easy to use the word lazy because that's too broad, and that paints with too big of a brush, too broad of a brush.
Yeah.
But there are certainly elements of that.
Yeah,
that society has things so easy, and I don't think I'm an ego person or a jealous person by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe there's a little envy that our generation has, like, hey, you know, we didn't have those opportunities that they have today, but look at them fucking it up.
Well, that's
and we shouldn't feel that way, but I'm sure we do to a certain degree. We do.
People have the opportunities, but you're right, they fuck it up. It's just like man, and I say that if I was in that position, good God, I'd be all over it. You know what I mean? And I'd be doing everything I can to secure that and have that.
Right, because opportunity is an important thing, and so many people miss it.
You see people coming into jobs now. Check it out. My mom worked. She worked for a school district forever, and at the end, she was making X amount of dollars. The people coming in that did less work than my mom, that were younger, did less work, blah blah blah. They were making more money than somebody that had been there and expecting you know, and it's just like you work your ass off for this,
no doubt,
and
no doubt
you're not getting, you know, these people coming in there doing less,
of course,
and but they're making more money,
of course.
And that's like you see too. You go to these restaurants, you got these cats that had to go back to the workforce for any, you know, the ones that would get a job. And their manager's like, some 17-year-old kid going to tell you what to do and how to make a burrito.
Exactly.
And it's just like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, and it's just, it's I'm happy that I'm where I'm at and how I weathered the storm and, you know, along those lines. But I've come to the realization that I'm old.
And with that, we're going to close today because I can't say it any better. I am as well, friend.
Awesome.
I appreciate that, buddy.
Nah, happy to be down here.
All right, until the next one, which
Tomorrow.
is right around the corner. Filming commences tomorrow, but we're out. Thank you, buddy. This way, Fred. Over this way. There you go.
My
There
camera's dead
we have
over there.
cameras everywhere. Thanks, friends.
How
Until
do
next
you let
time.
my camera go, Eric? I need that. There you go.
Hello, you're listening to the Eric McKenna Project.